talking this rap shit till I'm 40.
It's like electricity, just float through your
being
body.
easy with breezes and winding down and out, baby, I'm sorry.
Switch the game, change it up, falling off now hard.
Picture me rolling Maserati with some hoes in the back.
Switching lanes, taking pictures with a bitch in my lap.
Clap your hands, everybody, if you feel this shit.
KC,
Bingo,
on the mic,
and that's it.
Take a trip down south that we call the Abyss.
I'm most curious about my silver Air Forces.
And we receiving major paper from multiple sources.
Of course, it's the bosses that handle the business.
Spice the game a little bit, cause the flavor diminished.
Like Kane and Old Dog, we society's menace.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
KC,
Bingo, knocking at your door. Here it is again. Let's go. KC, you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
What? I'm riding around town, bumping shit that can feel.
You the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
And we gon' keep it moving, grooving, give you something
KC,
now.
you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
What? Riding around town, bumping shit that can
Bingo,
feel.
you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
And we gon' keep it moving, grooving, give you something now. Attack the track like a lion, cause I'm so ferocious. When the wind blow, I fly, cause my image on posters. It be wise to decide to not try to approach us. Get burnt like bread when it's stuck in the toaster. And you hoes like clothes, I told you I fold you. In the mornings I have Folgers with my doja. I suppose it's time to smell the roses. Clear my mind, check the snakes is close.
And peep my status, but stamina, swagging on niggas just amateurs. Style stay funkin' and cannabis. It's scandalous the way these bitches try to handle us. It's sitting boards, ball swords in my Polaroid camera. I want my niggas on the propaganda. Welcome to this extravaganza. Hennessy, sipping weed, smoking enhancer. Even though we know that way to go is not the answer, I won't chance the opportunity to blow this shit. Take a shot at the target and I'm not gon' miss. Kicking, flipping, splitting, rip these rap niggas to bits. Let's go, KC, you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
What? I'm riding around town, bumping shit that can
Bingo,
feel.
you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
And we gon' keep it moving, grooving, give you something
KC,
now.
you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
What? Riding around town, bumping shit that can
Bingo,
feel.
you the shit this year.
Yeah, I'm the shit this year.
And we gon' keep it moving, grooving, give you something now.
Like that, that. I like that, y'all. Like that, that. I like that, like that, y'all. Like
hit it with the whip of all back, y'all.
Like that, y'all. Like that, y'all.
Here it is, KC, King Chaka. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? KCE, King Chaka. It is what it is, baby. You really not feeling me? Let me find out. Yo, question my ability. Let me find out. Invest in my enemy. Let me find out. There ain't no telling what you finna see. You finna find out. It's something that enters me. You finna find out. Then exit with energy. You finna find out. Riding flows like centipede. You finna find out. Screw those that's kidding me. Let me find out. Hit the big lips. I'ma call you Bill Bellamy. When you talk your shit, man, really it's killing me. Hit you with my fist and I'ma do it lyrically. Crazy ass brick, so I might do it literally. I'ma do this till I'm old eating celery. How old is Jay-Z? He gotta be 70. Come to my show or I'ma do it bitterly. Or hit the porn store with a bitch named Beverly. Keep waiting tables, yeah. Spicy means peppery. Or get tattoos and work in the factory. Whatever I do, I'ma do it happily. I'm tired of these rappers too, they do it tackily. That's why I'm here, I'm the shit this year. We gon' keep it moving, grooving, give you something you can feel. When shit's fucked up, gon' drop a tear. I'ma pull my pants up, grab another beer. Rap's messed up and I don't have no fear. Attack the chest up, it's a grown man in here. Ask you little chaps, what have you done in the field? Throw your sets up, let them know you're still here. I said you really not feeling me, let me find out. Yo, question my ability, let me find out. Yo, invest in my enemy, let me find out. Ain't no telling what you finna see, you finna find out. Yo, you really not feeling me, let me find out. Yo, question my ability, let me find out. Yo, invest in my enemy, let me find out. Ain't no telling what you finna see, you finna find out. Yeah, bounce, rock, shake, wiggle. We gon' come through and put it in the middle. They calls me fiddler cause I play the fiddle. Checking masters, white pipes, eyes a good nigga. Bounce, rock, shake, wiggle. We gon' come through and put it in the middle. They calls me fiddler, cause I plays the fiddle. Checking masters, white pipes, eyes a good nigga. I said you really not feeling me. Let me find out. Yo, question my ability. Let me find out. Yo, invest in my enemies. Yo, let me find out.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? Remember, we want you to be an activist. And don't take my word for it. Look that shit up, please. Relationships and esoteric knowledge. That's the name of the show today. So that is what we will be talking about. I don't know. I'm trying to feel good. I'm trying to tell myself I feel good, but I'm fighting. So it is what it is. We're gonna keep it moving though. I can't stay on long tonight because I have stuff to do in the morning, but I don't know why, but I just feel like starting off with this random stuff here. I was just thinking about some of this stuff. So it says, me waiting for common sense variant to spread. That's pretty funny to me. It says, plumber finds envelopes filled with $600K in cash and checks inside a wall at Joel Osteen's Houston megachurch. I don't know how true that is, but that's interesting. It says, a high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. Arthur Schopenhauer. A high degree of intellect tends to make a man unsocial. I have to agree with that. I think that's true. Anyways, I'm going to go to my page because I posted a couple things that I want to talk about. Just this one, and then I have the other one that's in my phone. That's what it is. I didn't post it, but okay, this one, it says, only men can love a woman with no money, no house, or no car. Only a man can love a woman and expect nothing in return. Women can't do that. A woman's love comes with conditions. You must have this and that. A man just wants peace. Only thing women love unconditionally is their kids. I want to read that again. It says only men can love a woman with no money, no house, or no car. Only a man can love a woman and expect nothing in return. Women can't do that. A woman's love comes with conditions. You must have this and that. A man just wants peace. Only thing women love unconditionally is their kids. And I think this meme keeps coming back. It's like an old joke. It was a joke that somebody made. Popular comedian made a joke that's along these same lines. And I think that's why this meme keeps coming back, reworded like this. And then in this picture right here, it shows a woman. So it's like supposedly giving it legitimacy, right? Because it's supposedly coming from a woman. But I don't even know that for sure, because this actually sounds like something that a dude would write. That's just what it sounds like in my ears. Although that doesn't take the truth away from it. I believe there's a whole bunch of truth in this. Although, you have the confusing concept of the woman who's chasing after the dude who's couch surfing. So I don't really know. I don't know how that works in that. Click the link to join. Yeah, I don't know how that works. The chick who likes the guy who's cool, but then thinking about it, it's like she don't treat him like a man or whatever. He's like an accessory to her. He's like her bag or her shoes or her purse. You know what I mean? Her car, even, like, it's like it's an accessory to her. You know what I mean? So she could show up on the scene looking more fly or whatever. But he's still like an object, I think, in that scenario. You know, the woman that allows what I'm speaking of right now is the woman that allows the guy the couch surfing guy, you know, he's an accessory to her, you know. That's what she uses him for. He's an object, so he doesn't even have like human value, like, you know what I mean. He's an object, and I think that's what happens a lot. When I was watching the Squid Games, one of the few things I watched on TV recently or whatever, the part towards the end where the big wigs, you had people in the room, but they were like statues, or they were like footstools or something, like, so it's like, that's what I think happens. Like, people take the humanity away from others, and then they use them as objects, to fulfill whatever need they need at the moment. And I think that's what happens with that. There's another one. Excuse me. Let me see. There was a picture. I was going to post it. Okay, here it is. It says, a healthy relationship is one where two independent people just make a deal that they will help make the other person the best version of themselves. Let me read that again. A healthy relationship is one where two independent people just make a deal that they will help make the other person the best version of themselves. The other person, the best version of themselves. And then they're calling this a healthy relationship. I don't know how healthy that is if you're trying to make the other person a better version of yourself, But again, just like this other meme that I just showed, that doesn't take the truth sting out of some of these words. Even though the motivation may not be the best as far as making the other person a best version of themselves, that might not be the right motivation in the situation. But at the same time, I think good results are going to come out of that particular kind of philosophy. Because if you care about yourself, then you caring about the other person because you care about yourself. Because a lot of people are just selfish anyway. So, if you can get them to do good things for selfish reasons, I think that's good. What do y'all think about that? Call me crazy. Call me crazy. A couple of other things. I want to talk about the tree of life. I want to talk about a bit about electricity, because I was talking about that and the electronic fields and the poles, because that's kind of related to the tree of life too. It's polarity of it and the field of it. Rihanna got honored in a speech by Barbados. Let me see. I don't know if that's interesting to y'all, but it's kind of... Here, let me see. I'm gonna just play a little bit of it.
For constantly striving for excellence, never believing that place of origin, gender, or social circumstances are limitations, but rather masterfully using them as stepping stones to greatness. For, in a very short period of time, captivating the world with her unique performance style and hit after hit after hit. Beautiful accent and shining bright like a diamond, Robin Rihanna Fenty, national hero of Barbados.
Her last name is Fenty. I just think it's interesting because Barbados just made a, they broke from the Queen and they made a president and all of that. So it's like they're not officially not a colony no more. And then one of the first things they do is give Rihanna like a, I don't know, honored her with a medal. It's interesting to me. See how delicately she put that little thing right there in the cleavage.
The Right Excellent Robin Rihanna Fenty. And ma'am, I'd like to ask you if you would like to give a few words.
I don't really want to hear any words. I just think it's a little bit interesting, you know. The things that's happening in the world, like I say, everything is connected. So it'd be those little details sometimes that you might miss, that you might not see the significance in it. And that's the reason, that's why I'm here, to help y'all, you know. Oh yeah, the parents of the shooting, the guy, high school. Let's
Local
watch
4
this.
News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We have been following breaking news all day from Oakland County. The attorney for James and Jennifer Crumbley, the parents of the defendant in the school shooting, now says they did not flee and instead left town for their own safety. Good to have you with us for Local 4 News at 5. A statewide be on the lookout alert was issued for the Crumbleys at 3 o'clock this afternoon. The sheriff went on network cable television saying the Crumbleys were nowhere to be found.
But now their attorney says they are returning to the area to be arraigned on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. We want to get right out to our Karen Drew. She's live in Pontiac tonight. And Karen, it really has been a real mess over the past few hours here.
You know, Kim, you put it correctly. It has been a mess, a lot of miscommunication. We earlier had said that these parents were on the run, and now their attorney says that they're turning themselves in, but that their attorney could have obviously told us that earlier in the day. Miscommunication, but we have to put this in perspective. In a sense, they're trying to change the headline. These parents, Jennifer and James Crumbley, have been now charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter. And that truly is the headline that is capturing the attention here locally and nationally, as parents now are being charged in the deadly shooting in Oxford High School. So the question is, where are these parents right now? According to police, we haven't gotten a statement that they know exactly where they are. According to the parents' attorneys, they claim they're turning themselves in. They never were on the run. They just left town for their safety. This is a breaking story. Devin and Kim, we're trying to piece all these pieces together and figure out exactly where they are, when they're going to turn themselves in. But in the meantime, the Crumbleys are now facing 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, a major, major decision made by the Oakland County prosecutor today that was announced just a few hours ago.
Local.
Yeah, so that's really interesting too. Like I say, and then it's so what. But when I was talking about this story before, and what I was saying was they need to start charging the parents, and this is the first time that they have done this. So, like, if you want to try to get control of the gun violence, especially related to school shootings, most of the school shootings happen with the child going and taking one of the parents' guns and taking it to the school and shooting the kids. You know what I'm saying? So that means that the parents aren't being secure with their weapons, and they're not keeping an eye on their kids. So again, like I say, I'm 100% behind the decision to charge the parents, because this is a deterrent to the rest of it, because that's what you need to do. You need to try to get control of this situation. You have to do something, right? So if you charging the parents with like involuntary manslaughter, this is a serious charge. So all the rest of the parents across the nation are watching this shit, and they're like, okay, your little ass better not fucking leave up out of here and cause no fucking drama and get my ass in jail. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to go to fucking jail, so I'm not going to jail for your ass. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing, because that's going to put pressure on those kids, and it's going to also have the parents paying more attention to, you know, the security of their guns and what the hell their children are doing. It's so important, and this is the first time they have done this, so that's what makes this really interesting to me. And then the headline earlier in the day was that the parents was on the run. So, but they still haven't turned themselves in. So it sounds like that's actually a true story. I mean, they talking about they withdrew 4K out of their account, and it was like, when I saw that, I was like, they're definitely not going far. 4K. I don't know what you're gonna do with that. That's gonna be gone. That's probably what they realized. It was like, we can't do nothing with 4K. Let's turn our ass back around and go back to the house and fucking face the music, I guess. You know, it's really sad. It's really sad, you know what I mean, that America has a real problem with this. You know, we have a problem with gun violence, and we have a problem with school shootings. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, charging the parents is a very good idea as a deterrent. So I like that. I think they're doing the right thing with that. They need to charge some more parents. The next time it happens, they need to charge those parents too, so they can send send a message out to the parents. Keep your guns secure and keep an eye on your damn kids, or there will be consequences. So, oh yeah, this is random too. I might get in trouble for playing this just because of the music, but what do y'all think of that? Look at this. The facial expressions is what's really has come a long way. And in the video games, they have been struggling with facial expressions, and they've been struggling with skin, like getting skin to look like skin. But they're coming along. Look at this shit. What do y'all think about that? They're calling it, what did they call it? Terrifying clip. What do they call this? Oh shit. My bad, y'all. Terrifying advanced humanoid robot goes viral. I don't know how terrifying it is. It's pretty amazing though that whoever did this, they spent a lot of time on those, like the little subtle movements of the face is what catches our eye. So they probably got a whole bunch of fucking, little whatever's in there to move the face in that way, and then have all the different muscles, what would be human muscles, look like they're together. See, the forehead is not quite right. Anyways, that's interesting to me. I don't know what's interesting to y'all, but I'm a weirdo nerd, so that kind of shit is super interesting to me, because the point is going to come where they're going to have these humanoid robots, and they're going to be so good that you're going to have a really difficult time being able to tell between a real human and a robot. Like for real. They already got algorithms that's really good at like talking and shit. So, and I've seen those, and those are really, impressive too. So if you put the impressive algorithm, the thought algorithm, the one that talks and stuff, and you put that inside one of these robots that are really good at facial expressions and shit, put some damn clothes and shit on them, that we already got the silicone. The women are already walking around half android robotic, if you want. The men too. Hey, I'm not picking on nobody. I'm saying we have a bunch of fake parts of our bodies that we walk around with that look really fucking real and fool a lot of people. So what I'm saying is that you mix those three technologies together, and you got a real thing. You got a real thing that's a real thing that, that we're gonna really have to deal with. You know what I mean? As far as it being scary, yeah, I guess in that aspect, as far as not being able to tell between a robot and a human. But I guess, at some point, I think a lot of people, they're not going to care. I think a lot of people would prefer the company of the robots. We've already becoming like that. I have a clip of 1977. Here it is, Rio de Janeiro. And I was watching this. Let me turn the volume down. We don't really need the music anyways. I was watching this, and what caught my eye was no cell phones. Look at their hands. This is 1977 archive footage of Rio de Janeiro. So, random ass footage. It's weird how, like I say, I'm a fucking weirdo nerd. It's weird how stuff like this is what really catches my eye. Like, I zoned out on this shit for a while. I'm not gonna lie. Time went by and I didn't realize it. I was like, Chaka, you're doing something. I had to like correct myself because I zoned out on this shit. I was just watching it because, I can't explain it. I'm an anthropology student if you follow me. So I'm fascinated with humans and human culture and stuff like that. So, but when you have this kind of footage, like the, what's the word for it? I can't really think of it right now. Just regular ass footage like this, it gives you a shit ton of information for people like me as an anthropologist. Like people moving around normally or regularly or what they do normally, That's where the data is, and that's what shows what the hell. Anyways, so like I say, I zoned out on this damn video. And one of the things that caught my eye in the video was the people with no phones in their hands as they walk around and interact with each other and stuff. Like right now, today, every single person in the picture would have a phone in their hand. Like if it's not in their hand, it'll be visibly poking out of their pocket or something. But as you see, these people walking around, nobody has a phone in their hand. And I guess I got on this subject talking about our connection to the robots, as far as like, I think we would prefer the company of the robots. You know, maybe back then in 1977, we wouldn't have, but today I think we would. We like our little robots. That our cell phone is a little robot. It's a little algorithm. And we're very attached to it. But it's amazing to look at life without these things, and people are fine. Everything is happening just fine. It doesn't look like they, are losing it. There was no internet. Well, not like today or whatever. There was no internet, and there was no cell phones. Maybe there were cell phones, but not like everyone with them like today. So, like I say, the regular ass pictures like this, the people's hair, that's another thing that stuck out to me from this. So it was weird how the 70s hair was, right? 70s hair, bro. Fucking like everybody was more on that like natural stuff. And this is in Rio de Janeiro. So this is like, so it shows that it was worldwide how people was doing their hair, as far as it was a lot more like, let's say natural, laid back, like kind of like, more authentic is the word I would use. You know what I mean? Everybody's hair is just more authentic, and they were proud of their authentic hair. And it was big. Let's see if they show some more hair, because that's another thing that caught my eye when I was watching this. I don't want to just bore y'all to death with this shit. Anyways, yeah, I'm not gonna bore y'all to death with this. That's just the kind of weird shit that I be into. I really can't help it. Truly apologize for being into random ass fucking retarded ass shit. But what I'll say is that I know a lot of people out there, y'all don't have time. Y'all are running around, y'all got to pay bills and shit. I mean, I got to pay bills too, but I spend a lot of time fucking looking shit up. So I know that people out there don't have time doing that, time to do that. So that's why I feel like I have something to provide for you guys, is because I spend so much time. Oh yeah, let's get on this, because I wanted to talk about female, like what they want. That's what I was talking about at the beginning, and that's kind of where I've been going or whatever. That's kind of what the video is about today, is we're talking about relationships and esoteric knowledge, kind of like how they're connected. And like right now we're talking about what women want. And, anyways, Jordan Peterson, and like, anyways, I'm gonna let the video play. It's only 3.5, it's almost 4 minutes, but this is some valuable fucking 4 minutes. Y'all check this out.
A Billion Wicked Thoughts that was written by a bunch of engineers at Google, and they were looking at billions of Google searches. And there's no shortage of pornography on the internet, and there's much less by proportion than there was when the internet was first invented. And it's so interesting because it actually turned out that one of the things that drove the development of the internet and the technology was the proclivity of young men to search out sexually provocative images. That was what was at the forefront of the development of the net. Extraordinarily interesting. Anyways, the Google engineers looked at pornographic search processes and then segregated male searches from female searches. So they did a plot analysis of the typical pornographic female fantasy. Well, and it's so comical because engineers did this, and social scientists would never do this because they'd be probably too concerned about the ethics of it or some damn thing. But engineers, you know, they'll just plow ahead with no concern whatsoever for such things, and they actually discover things that way. And so they discovered the basic plot of the female pornographic literary product, and they identified. So basically what happened was that a innocent, well-meaning and attractive young woman encounters a male who's a bit of a monster. And the monster, there's 5 types of classic male monster. For all you males who want to know, this is what you can become. Vampire, that's a good one. Werewolf, billionaire, pirate, and surgeon. Okay, so that's very interesting because, well, first of all, there's a dominance thing. There's a, now you're actually blushing, you know, you're actually.
And the surgeon is a monster.
That's very, very funny. So, sorry
all of
to
them are
point it out,
monsters.
but it's
That's
so
what he said.
comical, you know. I know, it's so funny. I was reading this. It was just cracking me up. I thought, oh my God, really? Pirate, vampire? Oh, that explains it. What about all these damn vampire shows, right? They're so popular online. They're so popular on Netflix. Oh yes, and then there's the werewolf. There's nothing sexier than a werewolf, apparently. But I mean, so there's predatory dominance that's implicit in that, right? With the billionaire, it's more abstract, but clearly that's an indication of very high success.
They're definitely
in the male
monsters.
dominance hierarchy.
I agree with that.
But there's this desire for aggression that's in that, a real aggression.
Monster,
right? And it's not surprising to
make
me
it
at all. It makes perfect sense. But the basic plot is that the woman encounters this mysterious and aggressive male and tames him. That's the female hero myth, as far as I can tell. It's Beauty and the Beast. And so it's because, well, there's no fun in taming someone who's already tame. And what makes you think you really want someone who's tame anyways? There's no interest in that. Plus, when chaos manifests itself,
okay,
what makes you think that someone tame is going to be good for anything?
Look at the circles.
And it's a real question. And so that aggression is absolutely vital. It's absolutely necessary. But because it's incredibly dangerous, which of course it is, it has to be civilized.
Okay, let me see. All right. Esoteric knowledge right here. Fucking and this is what I be trying to get people to see all the time. You know, a lot of people know this knowledge and it's there in your face all the time, but you miss it. Look, the circle and the square. This is what I be talking about on my freaking show. And I know people do not understand what I'm talking about. But this is esoteric knowledge right here. We're talking about chaos. He said it has to, he said this is chaos. And then he said it has to be civilized. And they put a box over that. Okay. That's the circle and the square. Squaring the circle. Okay. So this is very, 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 very heavy esoteric knowledge right here. Okay. And this is a clear example of it right here. Okay. So about and then the woman being chaos and then wanting to tame the chaos and civilize it. It's really deep right there. I'm going to take this back just a bit because this is the best part of the video.
That aggression is absolutely vital. It's absolutely necessary. But because it's incredibly dangerous, which of course it is, it has to be civilized. And so what happens is that the archetypal female in these pornographic romances seduces and tames the aggressive male. And that's her encounter with chaos. Now it's more complicated. Of course, females, they're more complicated, and that's exactly how it is. And it's.
He said that's her encounter with chaos. And again, you see the circle. You see, he's saying it's her encounter with chaos. He's showing an arrow to show a connection from her to him, but it's a circle over here that represents the chaos.
Chaos. Now it's more complicated. Of course, females, they're more complicated, and that's exactly how it is. And it's no wonder because their lives are more complicated.
Excuse me. Yeah, that shit right there is mind-blowing shit when you really fucking think about it. But, you know, I always be trying to figure stuff out, like, you know, and I'm a dude, so I can't never speak for a woman. I can never speak for a woman. I don't know how her mind works and so forth and so on. You know, but this thing that these people figured out with their algorithm, like, that makes a lot of sense to me, as far as, you know, how the porn indicates what their true like desires are, if you fucking will. You know what I'm saying? So, and this may not include all women. This is, you know, the pool of women that was watching porn. You know, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of women that don't watch it or whatever, but I'm sure it's a good indication of, you know, our society, is what I would say. So in general, like on average. So, and this is not racial either. So this is everybody. So it's like, it kind of explains the woman, what we were talking about earlier, with the guy sleeping on her couch, or you know how like she's chasing after Pookie, or the, you know, the drug dealer gang banging guy, like the guy who's probably gonna go to jail or get killed, you know. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? Oh, she wants to tame this guy. It's like truly her fantasy. You know what I mean? It really is like I don't want to say a fetish, because I don't think that's fair, but it's similar to that in a way that, you know, it's their desire. It's like fire and desire. You know, it's like, rah, you know, conquering the mountain because I conquered the beast. It's like Beauty and the Beast. I conquered the beast. I tamed him. So I know for women and men, who's ever out there listening, you can take something from that. You know what I'm saying? With both sides. So from the women, they can try to better understand their own like motivations, if you will, and maybe control it better. And for men, they can like, you know, try not to be so much of an asshole. Shit. I don't know what, you know, hey, I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. How, Sway? I really don't. This is chaos. So I don't know if there are any answers. I just like to look at data. I just like to talk about, you know, the laws as far as like the way things are. You know what I mean? We use science. We use whatever tools that we have available to try to, you know, make sense of this world, you know, and that's what I'm trying to help you guys do, so you can learn how to watch the news better, how to like, you know, have conversations with each other, because this is really all about that. I want to start conversations so that we can build institutions. I don't think we can build institutions until we start the conversations. We're having the wrong conversations. So I'm trying to guide the conversations. That's what I'm trying to do with this channel. So hopefully you guys can talk to your friends, coworkers, church members, you know, in a different way, so that we can start having the conversations that we need to have. So I don't know if I want to go into, because I'm going to do the tree of life or electricity first. They're both dry. Let's do electricity.
This video was sponsored by Caseta.
I don't want their intro.
A switch, a light bulb, and 2 wires, which are each 300,000 kilometers long. That is the distance light travels in 1 second. So they would reach out halfway to the moon and then come back to be connected to the light bulb, which is 1 meter away. Now the question is, after I close this switch, how long would it take for the bulb to light up? Is it half a second, 1 second, 2 seconds, 1/c seconds, or none of the above? Now you have to make some simplifying assumptions about this circuit, like the wires have to have no resistance, otherwise this wouldn't work, and the light bulb has to turn on immediately when current passes through it. But I want you to commit to an answer and put it down in the comments, so you can't say, oh yeah, I knew that was the answer, when I tell you the answer later on.
This question actually relates to how electrical energy gets from a power plant to your home. You know, unlike a battery, the electricity in the grid comes in the form of alternating current, or AC, which means electrons in the power lines are just wiggling back and forth. They never actually go anywhere. So if the charges don't come from the power plant to your home, how does the electrical energy actually reach you? When I used to teach this subject, I would say that power lines are like this flexible plastic tubing, and the electrons inside are like this chain. So what a power station does is it pushes and pulls the electrons back and forth 60 times a second. Now, at your house, you can plug in a device like a toaster, which essentially means allowing the electrons to run through it. So when the power station pushes and pulls the electrons, well, they encounter resistance in the toaster element, and they dissipate their energy as heat. And so you can toast your bread. Now, this is a great story. I think it's easy to visualize, and I think my students understood it. The only problem is it's wrong. For one thing, there is no continuous conducting wire that runs all the way from a power station to your house. No, there are physical gaps. There are breaks in the line, like in transformers, where one coil of wire is wrapped on one side, a different coil of wire is wrapped on the other side, so electrons cannot possibly flow from one to the other. Plus, I mean, if it's the electrons that are carrying the energy from the power station to your device, then when those same electrons flow back to the power station, why are they not also carrying energy back from your house to the power station? I mean, if the flow of current is two ways, then why does energy only flow in one direction? These are the lies you were taught about electricity. That electrons themselves have potential energy, that they are pushed or pulled through a continuous conducting loop, and that they dissipate their energy in the device. My claim in this video is that all of that is false. So how does it actually work?
It's the field. It's moving through the field.
In the 1860s and 70s, there was a huge breakthrough in our understanding of the universe when Scottish physicist James Clerk Maxwell realized that light is made up of oscillating electric and magnetic fields. The fields are oscillating perpendicular to each other, and they are in phase, meaning when one is at its maximum, so is the other wave. Now, he works out the equations that govern the behavior of electric and magnetic fields, and hence these waves. Those are now called Maxwell's equations. But in 1883, one of Maxwell's former students, John Henry Poynting, is thinking about conservation of energy. Now, if energy is conserved locally in every tiny bit of space, well, then you should be able to trace the path that energy flows from one place to another. So think about the energy that comes to us from the sun. I mean, during those 8 minutes when the light is traveling, the energy is stored and being transmitted in the electric and magnetic fields of the light. Now, Poynting works out an equation to describe energy flux. That is, how much electromagnetic energy is passing through an area per second. This is known as the Poynting vector, and it's given the symbol S. And the formula is really pretty simple. It's just a constant, 1 over mu naught, which is the permeability of free space, times E cross B. Now, E cross B is the cross product of the electric and magnetic fields. Now, the cross product is just a particular way of multiplying two vectors together, where you multiply their perpendicular magnitudes, and to find the direction, you put your fingers in the direction of the first vector, which in this case is the electric field, and curl them in the direction of the second vector, the magnetic field. Then your thumb points in the direction of the resulting vector, the energy flux. So what this shows us about light is that the energy is flowing perpendicular to both the electric and the magnetic fields. And it's in the same direction as the light is traveling. So this makes a lot of sense. Light carries energy from its source out to its destination. But the kicker is this. Poynting's equation doesn't just work for light. It works anytime there are electric and magnetic fields coinciding. Anytime you have electric and magnetic fields together, there is a flow of energy, and you can calculate it using Poynting's vector.
Interesting.
To illustrate this, let's consider a simple circuit with a battery and a light bulb. The battery by itself has an electric field, but since no charges are moving, there is no magnetic field, so the battery doesn't lose energy. When the battery is connected into the circuit, its electric field extends through the circuit at the speed of light. This electric field pushes electrons around so they accumulate on some of the surfaces of the conductors, making them negatively charged, and are depleted elsewhere, leaving their surfaces positively charged. These surface charges create a small electric field inside the wires, causing electrons to drift preferentially in one direction. Note that this drift velocity is extremely slow, around 1/10 of a millimeter per second. But this is current. Well, conventional current is defined to flow opposite the motion of electrons, but
I know that's confusing to y'all. I'm gonna fast forward a bit because it's dense as fuck. So, but basically it's moving through the field. I think he's gonna wrap it up. Let me see. This helps when they talk about this.
when they try to send
enormous amounts of distortion. I mean, they could work it at a few words per minute.
What they found was sending signals over such a long distance under the sea, the pulses became distorted and lengthened. It was hard to differentiate dots from dashes. To account for the failure, there was a debate among scientists. William Thomson, the future Lord Kelvin, thought electrical signals moved through submarine cables like water flowing through a rubber tube. But others, like Heaviside and Fitzgerald, argued it was the fields around the wires that carried the energy and information. And ultimately, this view proved correct. To insulate and protect the submarine cable, the central copper conductor had been coated in an insulator and then encased in an iron sheath. The iron was only meant to strengthen the cable, but as a good conductor, it interfered with the propagation of electromagnetic fields because it increased the capacitance of the line. This is why today most power lines are suspended high up. Even the damp earth acts as a conductor. So you want a large insulating gap of air to separate the wires from the ground.
The field. The electricity.
What is the answer
the
to
power
our
is
giant
moving
circuit light bulb
through
question?
the field. So it's
well, after I close the
answer
switch,
is
the light
almost
bulb will
instantly,
turn on
like the speed of light,
almost instantaneously, in roughly 1/c seconds. So the correct answer is D. I think a lot of people imagine that the electric field needs to travel from the battery all the way down the wire, which is a light second long.
No way
so
it
it
could have
should
moved
take a
through
second
the
for the bulb to
tube
light up. But what we've
that
learned in this
fast.
video is it's not really what's happening in the wires that matters. It's what happens around the wires. And the electric and magnetic fields can propagate out through space to this light bulb, which is only 1 meter away, in a few nanoseconds. And so that is the limiting factor for the light bulb turning on. Now, the bulb won't receive the entire voltage of the battery immediately. It'll be some fraction, which depends on the impedance of these lines and the impedance of the bulb. Now, I asked several experts about this question and got kind of different answers, but we all agreed on these main points. So I'm going to put their analysis in the description in case you want to learn more about this particular setup.
If I get called out on it and people don't think it's real, we can definitely invest the resources and string up some lines and make our own power lines in the desert.
You're going to get called out on it.
I agree. I think you're going to get called out. So, I think that's right.
I think it's just kind of wild that this is one of those things that we use every day that almost nobody thinks about or knows the right answer to. These traveling electromagnetic waves around power lines are really what's delivering your power.
So yeah, it's the field. It's the field that is creating the that it's moving through, not the lines. Okay, that's what you have to understand, and that's what I'll be talking about: the nano versus the macro versus the micro. Like the way the atom is itself is how everything else moves, including the universe. So the reason why and then that's the reason why it can move so fast, because it's a field. It's kind of like how we're talking about the polarities. We're talking about the positive and negative poles and shit, and how they flip. And you know how like people understand how like those trains that we have now, and like the roller coasters, a lot of them are made this way. The faster, better ones, they use magnets, and the magnets just change polarities as the train goes by, and it increases its freaking really fast. And it's because the triggers flip as it goes by. And that's how the light rail trains, the really fast trains that we have that move people, That's how those work too. So it's magnets and it's the field. You know what I'm saying? And I want to say those wheels don't even really touch. That shit is so crazy, bro. When you really just look at it. And then it's like talking about the electricity generally, just the idea of the power and flipping the switch and how we use it all the time and we don't really understand how it works. That also is crazy as hell. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why I like to talk about this kind of stuff, because again, this is what it's all connected to esoteric knowledge. And that's what I'm going to show you right now, because the polarities. So let's go ahead and jump into a bit about, and this is dry. I don't know how much, let's see.
I wanted to talk today about the Tree of Life and why I like it so much. I'm very aware of its origins and the way it's been appropriated by Hermeticism, since its origins are Jewish. However, I think that it's really useful, and well, let's explore that. Why is it useful? I've talked quite a lot in my previous Esoteric Saturday videos about mentalism and how the all is mind and the universe is mental. I think I've covered that quite comprehensively. And I wanted to talk today about...
Pause. Let's take that back. I know, but I be saying this shit all the time. You can see it on his page. It says mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. Then it says vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Sounds like an atom. Polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. And then down here it says rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. Man, other page up here, it says cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Then it says gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. OMG, what book is that anyway he's reading from? I'm going to read this because y'all probably can't see it. The origins of this book have mystified many. Scholar Philip Deslip argues convincingly, I believe, that it was written by William Walker Atkinson, who operated the Yogi Publication Society in Chicago. He is also thought to be Swami Ramacharaka as the first principle. Mentalism suggests the ideas of the Kabbalion, I'm probably saying it wrong, I'm sorry, y'all, bear some resemblance to New Thought, a movement to which Atkinson was closely connected. The universe, the Kabbalion tells us, is contained in the mind of the all. The all creates the universe mentally, in a manner akin to the process whereby man creates mental image. This idea is central to practically all New Thought teachings. Nevertheless, the book does echo a more remote past. The term the all, for example, resembles the Greek tupan, which also means the all, and which appears in some Hermetic maxims, most famously Hintopan, all is one. It goes on, given the claims made for it, the most obvious source to examine for the roots of the Kabbalion is the Corpus Hermeticum, or Hermetic body of texts. So whatever, that was just like a page out of the introduction of whatever book this is. This dude, he probably said the name of the book, but the concepts is what I care about. And you know, you guys know me, I'm crazy as hell, so I don't care about names and shit like that. Like, I don't care about who the messenger was. I don't give a damn. I don't care about what skin tone they are. I don't give a damn about none of that shit. This freaking information the damn things that resonates to me. You know what I mean? The things that vibrate me, that's the stuff that I resonate to. And I don't care. There's no barrier. I don't allow it to be. I don't allow there to be any barriers. So, anyways, I don't know. Let's play this little bit again.
I've talked quite a lot in my previous Esoteric Saturday videos about mentalism and how the all is mind and the universe is mental. I think I've covered that quite comprehensively. And I wanted to talk today about correspondence and polarity, because I think that the Tree of Life really cover those two aspects quite well. The law of correspondence is that as above, so below, and as below, so above. And the Tree of Life, I think, represents that quite nicely. We'll discover that in a moment. And polarity is that everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. The reason I wanted to approach this topic today is because I've been thinking a lot about the shadow self, the Jungian shadow self recently. And I've been reading a book called Shadows on the
What's up, Brian?
Which what's
up?
And if you know
probably
a bit about shadow
like
work,
this.
This is a
He's
great
finna go
book
into the
for
Tree of Life.
those
He's
of us
finna
who are
draw
already
it
on a spiritual
and talk
path,
about
who
the
feel like,
columns.
we've
I'm gonna
kind of
skip
got the
through it
shadow
because it's
work
20 minutes. So I'm not gonna play all of it. But
sorted, and this really is a wake up to
yeah,
realize that shadow work.
but
really
he's gonna
never is.
draw the Tree of Life, and he's
You
gonna
can
talk
see I've got a
about
couple of
each.
tarot cards over here, and
Those
they're
tarot
ready
cards.
to illustrate
Yeah.
the topic for today. Of course, here we've got the Ten of Pentacles, which is a representation of the Tree of Life, with Kether at the top and Malkuth at the bottom, and everything in between, which I'll just explain in a few moments. And over here, we've got the two cards which I think best show those two principles, the principle of as above, so below, and the principle of opposites, with those two columns of Boaz and Yakim being the column of severity and the column of mercy.
This is interesting. How the infinity symbol they put on the one that's as above, so below, and it has the infinity symbol there. And then the name of the card is the Magician. That's all interesting to me.
Once again, if these concepts are well known to you, then it's possible that this video is not for you, unless you're curious to see what my take is on the Tree of Life. But if this is completely new to you, then you're very welcome. And let me see if I can help you understand what the Tree of Life actually is. Well, the Tree of Life is a map of the universe, but not in the sense of where the stars are, but rather what is the universe made of. Okay, if you so that the idea is that if you understand what composes the Tree of Life, then you understand what composes everything, as above, so below. So if you understand what is below this map of the Tree of Life, then you can understand everything else, right? So let's see what I mean by this. So the Tree of Life is normally started at the very top, but I'm going to start it at the very bottom because it's what we all understand. The Tree of Life has got these 10, well, they look like circles, but it's really just a diagram.
And another thing that I find interesting right off the bat, when I was watching this video earlier, was I was thinking about string theory and how for string theory to work, it has to have 10 dimensions.
Okay.
And this string theory is talking about the vibrations of these particles. So again, that's all interesting.
Diagram, okay, it's not really a circle. It's an idea, and this bottom circle, this 10th circle, is the material world. We call it Malkut. Malkut. All right, Malkut. So Malkut is it's represented by the planet Earth, right? It's really the most physical aspect of existence that you can imagine. So anything that's a little bit intellectual, anything that's a little bit
Have you ever broke down the tree of life like this before, or with anyone?
Aspects of all of those things in Malkut, of course, but the thing that really defines Malkut is physicality.
It's about
presence,
mind, because at the beginning we talk about the universe is mind. So this is like a map of mind, if you will.
Each of these Sephirot, so
therefore a map of the universe
are called Sephirot
as mind.
So one Sephirah. No, let me write that down there.
Gotcha.
One Sephirah. Maybe with an H. It's a Hebrew word, so the spelling really is neither here nor there. And several.
See, I might just play it in a faster speed, just because.
So each Sephirot is linked with a with a path. Okay. Now I don't know the numbers of the paths by heart, but it's not really the purpose of this video to introduce you to the paths. What I really want to do is to introduce you to the general tree of life and to tell you why I like it so much. Then we got number 9, which is kind of the realm of maybe dream, certainly imagination. And we call this one Yesod.
Imagination. So you got the physical realm there at the bottom, basically, material world. And then the first connection
down here.
From the material
Yesod
world
is everything to do with imagination and dream states. Then we've got 2 Sephirot, one over here.
It's important to understand the connections. That's the reason why they make you draw them out when you really learn this stuff, because it's about sacred
so
geometry.
over here we've got number 8, and this one is
how things are built upon each other.
It's called Hod. And this is where everything to do with learning, everything to do with the intellect, mathematics, language, those digital skills, that all belongs in Hod. So anything to do with scholarship and symbols and things like that belongs over here. And over here we've got Netzach. And Netzach is the 7th Sephirah, and that one's associated with Venus. All right, and that one is associated with emotions, feelings. So anything to do with love. Yeah, so you get the general idea, hopefully. And
so it's like, anyways, hold on. I'm going to take it to the end of it. Let me see, right up in here. Let me see, right when he finished drawing it. Because he talks about it for a while after he finishes it. Has a lot to do with fucking connections. Let me play a little bit here.
Pretty much every other Sephirah other than Malkut. So let's link those as well. There we go. And at the very top, we have number 1 called Kether. That one.
And it's interesting about, I think he's going to talk about it.
Linked over here. It's linked over here. And of course,
because the void is here. So it's like people can't get beyond this level of consciousness
pretty much
normally.
The tree of life. Now let me just make sure we're missing one over here.
You say you can't get past
these paths
normally?
Are an indication of
up in
how
here,
easy it is to get from
most people don't make it.
These
or can't
really represent so many things. They represent everything. Okay, anything that you can think of should be able to be classified in these 10 areas. First of all, it's interesting for us because it can help us understand how our mind works. Because if this represents everything, it should represent our mind as well. And if Malkut is our everyday consciousness, from the time you wake up in the morning, maybe after your first coffee, till the time you go to sleep at night, then that is easy to understand what this is. And then this would be a gateway for us to really reach anything else. We can understand from this model that we need access to our imagination.
You hear that?
And through our imagination, we'll be able to reach the other states. It's not given to us on a regular Tuesday.
You have to go through your imagination to get to all the rest of the states.
We're using this map to map out our conscious states. As an example, then we use our imagination to access language and any kind of learning and so on and so forth. All of that happens through the use of our imagination, right? We visualize concepts, we memorize through our imagination. The same thing is with our feelings and emotions. We access our feelings and emotions through an internal process of imagination. Not to say that the emotions are not real, but rather to say that is the the path that we use to access these
that's
real
how we do it.
emotions. And then
That's
we
what
have
the
all
tool
of
that
these
we use to
further
do it.
aspects of our consciousness, including the ones that are all the way up here. Some people actually put a barrier.
Okay, yeah, there
they call
he's talking about it.
Chasm. Maybe that's not the exact right word. The abyss. Abyss is the right word. Yeah.
It's like he's going to talk about it.
That it's actually quite a challenge to get to anywhere that's beyond the abyss, and that in fact you can't take your conscious mind with you beyond the abyss. Some people also say that this area here is maybe not a sephira, but something important, like a crossroads, which is not really a path, but it's not really a place either. They call this one Darth. 2 A's. Nothing to do with a Star Wars villain, just an area of learning that is just on that abyss.
So you ever saw anybody break this down
now
like
that
this
I've
before?
introduced the general look of the Tree of Life,
I've
I
seen
can tell you what I really like about it with regards to those two principles. Principle
a
number
pattern
2 being
like
the law of
this,
correspondence.
never really
and number 4
had
being the law
anybody like
of
draw it out
polarities.
and explain all the different
column of
levels.
severity and the column of mercy. Now you'll notice that here are the columns. The column of severity. Yeah, this is the column which includes the cold.
He's going to talk about the light and the dark, and I'm going to wrap it after that.
You also have
so I think he's going to
and,
talk about that right now. Because this is what's
aspects
happening
of
in our
good
world. I
knowledge,
think
negative
he's
and positive.
explained
And
it
you also have
very well right
form
here.
and
When he talks
depth
about
and
how we embrace the
limitations.
light
So,
and
this is the column of severity.
and the light
And
work
here you've got the column
and shunning
of
the
mercy.
the dark work.
These ones over here,
and it causes imbalance.
We've got the nurturing side over here. We've got abundance
in religions and in
creation,
state,
the origins of all things.
Basically,
the
society.
And so growing from nothing into everything, and so on and so forth. That's what's happening in Chokmah. And then in the middle, you've got this this middle path. In fact, they call it the middle pillar.
He's about to talk about that. I'm gonna wrap
right?
it after that.
So let me just add over here that this is mercy. And for me, this is so important because it reminds me that both of these are a part of everything.
And then it's the duality of the universe.
If I ignore one of the columns, then I am not whole. If I am only focused on this column, then I am not whole. And if Jung has taught us anything, is that any aspect of the self that is ignored blows up in unhealthy ways. And that's, I guess, what we're seeing, or what we've seen throughout history, with societies being obsessed with right thinking and only thinking in terms of light and being good and being obsessed with light work, while not only shunning the darker side, but actually ignoring it, pretending that it doesn't exist. And I think that's probably the least healthy thing that could possibly happen, is to pretend that this doesn't exist. Because if you pretend that it doesn't exist, then you're not working with it. You're not making sure that the positive aspects of this are showing through. And that means that it's left to its own devices, which means that its negative aspects are free to roam wherever they like, which is not great. In the same way, you have another group of people who only focus on these dark, negative aspects because they have rejected religion, maybe, right? Maybe they've seen some very negative aspects of religion. And, this could be why some religions, most religions, maybe all religions, have these very, very dark aspects to them. It's precisely because they repress them, right? They try to pretend that they don't exist, or to always fight them. And, if you're fighting something, then you don't want to admit that it's a part of you, right? So, the more this aspect is repressed, the more dangerous it becomes, the more out of hand it becomes, the less controlled it becomes. So maybe some people have seen that really ugly aspect of religions, and maybe they are only interested in this dark column, in this column of severity, and they reject entirely any light aspects. Okay, any kindness, any goodness. That's just as negative. It's just as bad, because once again, these aspects also have their negative sides. It's just that our society thinks more of the positive sides of the column of mercy.
So
but
important.
In fact, growth without any check is very negative. It's very contrary to health, contrary to life. And so only focusing on this will leave the lighter side unchecked, unexplored. And yes, that's not good. So I think that bearing this.
Okay. So what do you think about it?
Very interesting. I mean, it's and I mean, I think just based on the way he's explained everything, I mean, it all lines up, and I think that for me, I guess it verifies a lot of things that I already kind of know, and it's like, I mean, in order to really be able to capture your light side, you have to, you have to have a dark side, or at least express, at least accept it, or you know of course you find balance in between them, but you know one is nothing without the other, in so many ways. I mean, I may not be expressing it the best way, but I think these it's I don't know, I'm still kind of like absorbed, because I mean the way he's saying it, because like I said, I've heard a lot of these concepts before. It's just that watching him draw the diagram and explaining those different perspectives, just kind of, I don't know. I guess it's just got me just my mind racing.
It's overwhelming. It's a lot of information, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they teach this to the kids in like the religious schools, and like it takes years, so it's like that was the information that they teach them over years, all in that video. And then we skip through it. So
Yeah. And that's like, is that in any religious school?
no, it has to do with it's
More of a mystery school,
the
right?
Kabbalah. No, well, it's in multiple things. It has to do with the Wiccas. It has to do with the Jewish um um the Jewish. I'm not saying it right. The Kabbalah and all that.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's exactly the same. So like I say, they teach them this over years and years. So it's not like something.
They're teaching true science of, you know because I mean, a lot of people look at, a religion as, you know I think that the way he's teaching it is more of a pure way to look at religion, instead of, you know these, because I mean, it's principles, you know what I'm saying, and the way that they all tie together allows you to kind of look at all of those different aspects with, flirting with those different aspects without, you know making any of it evil, because I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
It has the
before.
polarity within each thing, and that's what people have
Yeah.
to try to remember: the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine within each thing, and then also having the polarity of the thing itself. And
Yeah.
then earlier I was talking about electricity and how like the magnetic field is how electricity actually moves, and it moves like at the speed of light. And then how that works is related to those polarities. And that's how what creates those magnetic fields. And we have to understand that, the more we understand like any one thing in the universe, we're learning about the whole universe, if that makes any sense. So this knowledge is super valuable, and and super useful.
Yeah, I mean, when I started getting into metaphysics, I felt like my closest connection to God was when I learned about those universal principles, those laws, the laws of the universe, that like opened my eyes up so much more than I had, of 30 something, 30 plus, you know, years, 40, well, really shit, close to 40, um, of years of, because I mean, I've always kind of exercised, or listened to, ex, you know, try to, learned all, different types of religions, or, kept myself open up for different religions. Of course, I was born in a Christian religion. Um, Always respected and was curious about the Islam religion, and you know, those two for the most part. But when I really got into the, like metaphysics, that's where, like I said, my biggest, like, that's where I felt like I really tapped into what real religion was, or if you want to call it religion. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
I real life. Like, I mean,
right. I think science and religion, like I be saying all the time, I think that science is looking for God. Like, that's what I think. So
I
it's
mean,
like,
God. I mean, that's, when you really look at it, when you're in junior high, you start learning about life science, and the connections to all these different things. I mean, what is life without science? Like, how do you calculate or determine or evaluate? And, you know, science is the key. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not some spooky shit like Scientology, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, that is a science of, a way to, depict or try to, pick out certain parts. But just science alone, that I would say that science is the highest religion.
and I wrote a paper arguing that that science is a religion, like a club or whatever. I know I pissed some people off with that shit because it was a damn academic paper with citations and shit.
But where do you find the most truth? Like, you find the most truth in, or facts. The most facts or truth in science. So whether it's, mathematics, like, it can only be this or that. You know what I'm saying? Either it's right or it's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Physics. It that's another way to kind of flirt with certain things, but because there's things that are still unexplained in, certain, sciences, but at the same time, it just is or it isn't.
Exactly. I was talking to Tariq about the difference between to know and to believe. I'm looking for, let's go to, you like Merriam-Webster's? Let's do Merriam-Webster definition. For to know, I'm going to share a screen with this because he said to know and to believe is the same thing. And I said,
I don't think so.
no, absolutely not.
For a bunch of people, it is.
Yeah, and that's what he was saying. His argument was that each person has their own truth, so that goes with that same kind of line of thinking. But I don't believe that either. I say that there's only one truth, and that's it.
Exactly. And I believe that I wholeheartedly, no matter what perspective you try to put into it, or, however you might try to angle it, there's still an argument for it.
Yeah, so you can't the data says what the data says. just like you said earlier, it is what it is. Like it's totally besides your feelings. So
Yes,
that's
and
that's what the truth is.
that's the element. Yeah, that's the element within belief, is that there's an opinion there, or your feelings. You know, you can, based on thought, because it's not really, unless you've explored every angle or facet of that concept, you're just not, you still kind of in limbo. You haven't really found the actual fact of it all, the truth, not a truth or my truth. No, there's the truth. That's what there's the truth when you really get, boil it down, really get to the surface of it.
That's what I say. And then he was like, his pretty good argument where he said perspective as far as, so what about each person's individual perspective as them calling that their truth? And
Mhm.
so my rebuttal to that one was, well, then I can say that that is a piece of it. You know what I mean? A piece of the truth, but not the truth. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and I think perspective, we can't never forget about perspective, because because like a person that comes up in privilege, and like this is the thing though, because like if a person like they haven't been through a lot and then they go through something that's traumatic to them, but to people who go through traumatic stuff all the time, it's not, they're like, get over that shit happens all the time or whatever, you know what I mean? But to that person, it's really traumatic. They haven't been through shit, you know what I mean? So in that scenario, you really have to try to respect perspective, try to understand that even though from your eyes that's not traumatic, to that person it is. You get what I'm saying? How it's easy for us to dismiss someone's trauma because of our trauma has been more.
That's deep.
So let me read
Uh,
this. Let me read the meaning of to know. It's know. It's a noun. Knowing, to have information of some kind in your mind. He knows a lot about the history of the town. Do you know the answer? Um, to understand something, to have a clear and complete idea of something. I don't know much about art, but I know what I like. How could she do that? How would I know? I don't know, and you should not expect me to know. Um, to have learned something, such as a skill or a language. She knows karate or CPR, or he knows Spanish. So, and I want to just go to believe right quick. I wonder if I could have shared both of those at the same time. I never tried to do that. To believe. Okay, here we go. To believe, accept something as true, feel sure of the truth of. The superintendent believed Lancaster's story. Similar, be convinced by, trust, have confidence in, consider honest. Opposite, disbelieve. So the second definition, it's a verb. And the second definition says, hold something as an opinion, think or suppose. I believe we've already met. Similar, think, be of the opinion that, think it likely that, have an idea that. Opposite, doubt. So, I mean, I don't know how you can say to know and to believe is the same thing. Like, you know what I
because
mean?
one is subjective and the other one is objective.
Yeah, and I think it said to know was a noun. Is that a noun? The other one
Yes,
is a,
that
and the other
is a
one is a verb. No, it's a verb. To know is a verb. Okay. I'm tripping. Sorry, y'all. anyways, anyways, I don't know how you can look at them as the same. You know, it's the disconnect of our society.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people really associate belief with something that they know. Like they know. I mean, based on a book, they may, they've developed a belief, but in their mind, they know that Jesus walked the earth, or Jesus was a human being, or whatever. Like there's ways that you can trick your mind into a thought process that makes you feel as though you know something, but until there's facts, there is you don't know. Like this, until you have solid facts. I mean, there's no tomb you can pull out for Jesus, but you can pull out a tomb of King Tut. We know he existed because we have evidence of it, and many others. I mean, you sat on your grandfather's lap. You know
Exactly.
he, he existed. What his how he treated you. Like it's a lot of things that you can know about that, but there's only speculation when it comes to certain ideas because there's no facts behind it.
I'm late as hell acknowledging the comment, but it says science should be a religion and religion should be a science.
Well, they're both. Yeah, I mean, it's already that's a fact.
No
That
argument here.
yeah, I mean, it's a fact both ways. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
So
there's no life without science. Like, I mean, well, because I mean, if you look at I mean, did you look up the definition of science? Because it's like
I
pretty
could
much a
totally
way
do
to,
it right now.
yeah, it's like a way of breaking down something to.
The intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. The world of science and technology. Let's see more definitions because I know they can do better. A particular area of science. It says, okay, a systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject. That's pretty good. And then it says knowledge of any kind. Wow, that's wide in scope right there. Let me look at this again. Okay, it says the
But
intellectual
but
and
but that but that I like that one too.
yeah,
That yeah,
yeah.
because really
That's I see. That's why it's good to look
your
up words.
thought is a part of science. Like just you know whether it's a part of the physical world or even because everything starts in the spirit world. When it comes, you trap it into your mind as a thought. You can express it and make it physical. So just just your thought is a part of you know is a part of science. Like that's what makes them both something.
That's why it's so important to look shit up because I swear I just learned something because I never really saw this before underneath. I guess I never looked this word up because I never knew that knowledge because it says it again down here, Middle English, word origin, Middle English denoting knowledge from Old French, from Latin scientia, from sire and to know or whatever. Know is the synonym.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. Here's another definition. Science, from the Latin scientia, knowledge, is a systematic enterprise that builds and organizes knowledge in the form of testable explanations and predictions about the world. It goes on to say, this is a wiki. The earliest root of science can be traced to ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia in around 3000 to 1200 BCE. They always got to add some shit on there that fuck they self.
Yeah, and see, and you see, that's a belief. That's a, because honestly, like, there's proof that has
You should
existed
have just
much longer.
you should have just stopped at the first half. You was good at that part. Then you added that other shit on there to try to be fancy.
No, it's no, that was deception. That wasn't just trying. That wasn't trying to be fancy. That was a broad statement of deception. Because, I mean, you know, as long as I mean, whether we knew it or not, I had a description for it, or something to call it. It still was. It
They
still
love,
existed.
they love to give it to Mesopotamia. They love to do that. It's really racial. It's totally racial. And that's the reason why they like to go back to that particular civilization and say that they developed fucking everything like writing and mathematics and I don't know what all they say. It's a but it is what it is. It is what it is. I think language, I think they said, I don't know, bro. They give them a whole bunch of credit
As
that
long as
I'm
as
sure
long as there
they
has
don't
been
deserve.
life, as long as there has been life, whether it was human or just by all, like the trees, the birds, like, it was still there. Not, I mean, I guess in physics, you have to have an observer, but I mean, even the birds and the trees would be observers of,
And
of the
I
sun,
feel
of
that.
the.
I feel that. You know what I think? I be saying this all the time. I mean, I've said this before, but it's interesting thought to me to think about the universe as okay. So one of the main concepts is to know thyself, right? And that resonates. So, like, what if the universe, like the whole reason for existence, right, is to know thyself? Like the universe is trying to understand itself, right? So it uses all these different tools to do it. All the different animals, we're just a part of it. All the fungi, the insects, the plants, literally everything, the dirt, all of it is like taking in information. It's like a
Exactly.
tinkle for a computer or whatever. It's just like gathering information to know more about itself, in the infinite moment of time. You know what I mean? As it's able to move around. Because I always think about the beginning of the Bible when they talk about how they say God said, let there be light. I always think about that. So it's like, and then it kind of goes back to the tree of life and how he drew that, because that's how it works. It's like, anyways, I'm not going to go down that road, but the thought of being in a void, there's nothing, right? And then you just like, you again, I always say this, if you're in a void, you don't know what's up, what's down, you don't know how big or small you are. There's no way for you to tell motion. You can't move from one place to another. You need something else to compare to you to be able to be aware of the movement. You know what I'm saying? Be aware of the size, really everything. You can't take nothing in with your senses. Your senses are filters, so your senses filter out information, but they don't work if there's no information or whatever. If that makes any sense. What I'm trying to
No,
say is
it
what I'm trying to
does.
say is I think about that all the time. So I think about like the universe really just like the Big Bang was the universe just like trying to see itself, like you know what I mean, like I want to know what's up and what's down and what's left and what's right, you know what I mean.
Everything that exists in this physical world is an example of the universe trying to know itself from those different points of view, or like I said, whether it's
Those perspectives.
you, yeah, and like I said, I mean, a bird may see the world totally different from us,
Right.
but that's still a the because each entity is a universe in itself. So you have a universe that is allowed to experience a universe.
Imagine, this is what I just had a thought. Imagine if someone could make like a TV, HD, like put together the photos of the point of view, the perspective of like a bird and maybe an insect or the grass, and then like maybe a human or animal in a tree even, or whatever, and put all these perspectives together at the same time in real time to make like a video kind of deal. uh, Imagine like what that would look like, you know what I mean? Like imagine how you would be able to see the world, like because you know how like they have those video cameras right now where you got the 360. So like imagine if it was like a surround sound but surround video of all these perspectives happening at the same time. Wow, imagine that. I hope I
Like
just gave somebody
panoramic,
an idea to make that shit.
like the panoramic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what made me think of
Well,
that.
that's actually something that is actually happening. The Oculus is an example of that because it's it's more than a 3D view. It's more of a practically a way to have a 360-degree view within a world. Right now we're looking at it from, I guess mostly like the better examples of video games. But like, there's within the matrix, there's every angle, like all those angles are there. You can see all those different points. In the real world for us, if we stand in one place, we might not be able to see the whole 360, but there's, I think that's a part of the physical world that I guess we're kind of overlooking because of the simplicity in which we really
and
live
that's
in.
and that's what I want to focus on. I want to focus on the limitations because we think about our senses being filters, right? And we know our senses all work together too. I think there's only really one sense, and that's like feel. It's like a feel, and all of our senses are feel. You know what I mean? And they're like
Yeah.
pieces of feel. And so again, each one of them are a filter. So they take out all the stuff they don't want and they focus on the stuff they want. So we have to try to imagine how, where the limitations are from our perspective. You know what I mean? Even from the height that we are, as far as how big we are and how we walk around on two legs and we look around, like literally our perspective is what we can see. You know what I mean? That's in our vision. But that's all related to our size and, what I'm saying, our species, so forth and so on. So imagine the perspective of an ant. You know what I mean? Imagine the perspective of a bird. It's a dolphin or a whale. You know what I mean? Their lives, tortoises live a long time. You know, imagine, like, try to imagine how they see the world. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, even if we looked at two different humans, one is 6'4", um, and colorblind. Somebody else is 5 foot tall and have the full spectrum, can see the full spectrum of colors, or at least, a human size of the spectrum. I mean, regardless, there's different factors, but because of your point of view, that's you're gonna see things, somewhat differently, but it's still you're still observing the same world. You know what I'm saying? You still have the same angles in which you can try see from, because I mean, I guess the example of somebody colorblind kind of throws it for a loop, but um either way, two people with 20/20 vision, they still can see it from a different angle, but they still have the opportunity to see everything, right?
Yeah. But they can't see everything. They can only see the filters that they're, what their filters have filtered out for them. And a lot of that is what we have to understand about that is your mind also decides on what those perceptions are. Because I was talking to Tariq about how, like, being blind and colorblind is a good example too. Like, how do you explain to somebody the color red if they've never seen any color? You know what I mean? How do you explain to them what the color red looks like or what it is, So, but then what you got to realize is that we've all decided that red is red. Okay? Understand what I'm saying? We as a community,
Have agreed.
we
We
have
have
agreed.
agreed, yeah, of what, based on, you know, what we're able to, yeah, like that. And that's kind of what, a fact is something that has been agreed upon. Because I mean, somebody who speaks a different language, they're seeing that same thing, but the way that they're expressing it or saying it might, come out or be misunderstood by the other, another person, just because of the language. But it's still, you're still observing that same thing as whatever it is, with or without that
Yeah, but
agreement.
what I'm trying to say is that it's not real as far as we have decided what that is. So, like,
Yeah,
that's the reason why you can't explain it to a person that has never seen it. So it's like that's related to our perception, and that's related to our mind making a decision. So it's like, like if you was blind, right? Well, when you can see, right, you can see. And as a kid, as you grow up, you learn that edges poke you. You know what I mean? You learn that you could trip over stuff, and, like, you know what I mean? You learn the texture of things and what that thing is by, you know what I mean? So, but
yes,
you learn this over time. You've taught yourself this thing. And then, so as far as the colors, those are just like, because the kids, you have to tell them that's blue. That's blue. You know what I mean? So the thing
exactly.
is, the kids could have named that something else. You know what I mean? Totally. And that would have
Yes,
been perfectly fine if everybody else in the world agrees with it. So that's what I'm saying, related to perception. You know what I mean? That's what we
yeah,
have to try to understand, that how we're limited on, we're severely limited by our filters that we use for our
yes,
perception, and also our size. You know what I mean? Our proximity to the earth, to the planet, to the moons, the stars, all of that, the weather, all of these things are limitations on our, perception. So with that in mind,
but there has to be rules. That's the thing. In order, for individuals to, as a collective, to be able to, have a sensible conversation, there has to be things agreed upon in order for it to, for us to have a true dialogue, trialogue, or, whatever the magnitude is. We we have to set those boundaries and rules in order for it to be order.
yeah. So there's a use for the tools. Just like I say, time don't exist, but there's a use for clocks. Clocks have the way we use time is it's a tool that's useful. but still, that doesn't really make it real. You know what I mean? That's the thing. So our perception is our reality. But like I talk about an ant, right? The ant crawling on a ball. If the ball is big enough, it could be a balloon or something, right? The ant is crawling over it. To the ant, it's on a flat surface and it's just going along and it's looking for the edge. And so that ant could go around that ball forever waiting to get to the edge. You know what I mean? Because of its perspective, it thinks that it's on a flat surface and the edge is eventually coming, but it doesn't know that it's going basically in circles.
Yeah, like some humans. Some humans. I mean, just because it looks flat doesn't mean it is flat. The world itself. I guess I was just throwing a shot at flat earthers.
Yeah, man. I don't know why you can. I don't know how you can go backwards with science, bro. Y'all need to chill. Please, can we go forward with science? Like,
please.
We could go ahead and change subject a bit so we could give because I ain't gonna stay on here too long. I have to get up in the morning. Anyways, only men can love a woman with no money, no house, or no car. Only a man can love a woman and expect nothing in return. Women can't do that. A woman's love comes with conditions. You must have this and that. A man just wants peace. Only thing women love unconditionally is their kids. What do you think about that?
And dogs. Or should I say their pets.
That's so mean.
But it's really true, and I mean that's one of those things that is true. Well, for the most part, because I know some women who are the breadwinners of the house, and they love their husband, and but as far if we're going to we have to look at it in the majority. You can't look at these very rare occasions where this happens. So, but yes, there's always a condition. I mean, and I think even there's still some condition there with that dynamic as well, because she has expectations, period. So even if she's the breadwinner, she still expects him to cut the grass or to there's so I mean, even regardless, there are conditions within every relationship.
Yeah, so that's what the comment. There's one comment under. This was a post I posted on Instagram about an hour ago. There's one comment underneath it. It says, "Not all men love unconditionally." It had to have been more than an hour. Why does it say an hour? That's when the reply was on here.
Yeah, I mean, we have conditions too.
It's okay. Wait, let me finish the comment. It says, "Not all men love unconditionally. Just like women, there's almost always conditions on both sides. It's unfortunate but true."
Yeah, no, I think really, I think the only true unconditional love is mother to child. Every other relationship has conditions, whether it's male or female, but mother to child, child to mother, those two, maybe even father to child, what I'm saying? Parents, let's say parent to child, child to parent, are probably the only unconditional relationships. Every other relationship has a condition. You know, I will love you as long as you don't cheat on me, or as long as you cook for me every day, I'll come home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like.
But I think these are harsh truths. you know, that we have to look at in society so that we can, you know, better deal with it.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh shit.
That
What
was
was I
an
gonna say?
interesting question. That
Yeah,
yeah, that would go on forever.
I saw
What
that
is
video
that?
before. I saw that video before. It looks real, but you can't never tell with the internet.
It was on the bed, and I took it, and I invited some of your friends. Say hello to Rena Center. Hi, Rena Center. Who the fuck is Rena Center, Daniel? And this your little whole domino. This your little whole domino. Wow. You have a girl?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
probably not
Yeah,
probably not real.
I'm lost. I don't know.
She's saying they're saying she got his phone while he was asleep and called all those random numbers that he had in his phone and invited them to a party, to his birthday party.
Oh wow. Wow.
So basically saying he knew all those girls.
Okay.
Okay, this should be interesting. AOC. Yes, the right wing, forcing people to give birth against their will while advancing policies that made the U.S. have the highest maternal mortality in the developed world. Then, for after birth, they work to stop paid leave policy. No wonder they need voter suppression to win.
No wonder they need what? Voter what?
Voter suppression to win. That's what she's saying. AOC.
Whatever.
That was stupid. Because I wanted to talk about relationships. I had some other shit, but I freaking lost it. Wait, I got a photo. A healthy relationship is one where two independent people just make a deal that they will help make the other person the best version of themselves. What do you think about that?
And wrong answer. Now, part of it is true because I mean, you know, a lot of people are not trying to be better. Some people just want to, you know, butt suck another. You know, like some people are just looking for a partner to, you know, have unlimited sex with, or look, you can live in my house. I buy groceries and do this, that, and the other. But when I, you know, when I need something, I want something, you jump in and help me. Or like, I mean, it is definitely a deal that's being made. Everybody's not trying to see growth though.
This says if heaven looks like this, I'm not going.
What is it, a bunch of dudes?
That's what it looked like. Oh man. I love Tony Baker. Am I gonna get away with playing this?
You think you better than me out here with your little sweater on? Hey, hell yeah, I'm better than you, man. You know what I'm saying? It's called fashion, man. Get these fashion. What's up, hats? Oh, yeah, cashmere. You step your game up. You up there butt naked with no fashion, man. What's up? Yeah, come up here. I'll rip your little fabric loose, punk. You think you...
I like videos like that.
He's so funny.
You know that commercial where it's usually a dog and two different dogs. It's like, hey, I wish.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're on the two sides of the fence, and then they
might
open the
just
fence.
they might just be a little bit of distance from each other,
Yeah.
but fuck you, Sebastian. You know,
Oh
it's like
yeah, that one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And Bartholomew or some shit was
yeah,
the other name,
yeah. Hey, what's your name?
or Malachi or some shit
So
like that.
yeah.
Well, fuck you, Malachi. Well,
Hey, hey,
wait. What's your name?
yeah,
Bartholomew or something. Well, fuck you, Bartholomew.
exactly. Yeah, I love that shit.
Cause that's how dogs be. Like it's like I just don't like you just because I don't like you. Like sometimes humans are like that. That's why we gotta embrace that. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it just be like that, like off the rip, or just don't like this dude. You like it ain't nothing you can say or do that's gonna fucking change that. Like I don't know, bro. Like his energy is off for me.
Yeah,
Everybody
it's
else like
pretty
this.
much
I love this guy. Like
women.
he's such a nice guy. I don't know. For me, I'm not feeling the guy.
Yeah, it's just like some things are just like that. Like okay, fuck. Well, okay, shit. Fuck you too.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Rags to riches stories of people clawing their way to the top from nothing are just the modern day equivalent of fairy tales about peasants discovering they're actually royalty. Widely improbable fantasies to let the commoners imagine the system could one day work for them too. What do you think about that?
Hold on.
I'm gonna go back.
Yeah, cause read it one more time because I was
It says rags to riches stories of people clawing their way to the top from nothing are just the modern day equivalent of fairy tales about peasants discovering they are actually royalty. Wildly improbable fantasies to let the commoners imagine the system could one day work for them too.
I could roll with that. Most people just need a shot at, or seeing that abundance is available for them as well.
I hate it when I be randomly getting fucking emails. Like that's annoying as hell. Or notifications for emails. Oh man. A lot of stuff you can't talk about too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, one thing I wanted to look at. You remember the all those Haitian migrants? Like they got them niggas in a fucking concentration camp now. A lot of them motherfuckers.
Which ones?
They're like in a prison. The
The
all those,
Haitians?
yeah.
Back in Haiti?
No, here.
Oh,
Or like
really?
right across the border or whatever. Right
I
at the
thought they
border.
said I thought they said they had an airplane for them.
Yeah, they sent
Like
a bunch of them, but they have a bunch of them locked up. I don't know what the hell they're doing.
See, there's so many things about, because, I don't know. It's to me that whole thing was a testament to how racist our president and our, his administration are. Because Trump just like he didn't want none of the motherfuckers in there. But it's as far as the border, they're allowing so many of I guess the lighter skinned immigrants to just come in all willy nilly, and then when it comes to the dark skinned ones, like, oh hell no, this got to stop right now. You know what I'm saying? It's just,
Man, I think they're gonna have to full stop with this stuff because the people like the coronavirus, like as far as like the mandates and stuff, like people gonna get tired of this. I think after a while, like they can only do like keep us on because you know what it's like threat level red. That's what it reminds me of. Remember after 9/11, threat level
yes,
red, threat level red.
it's the same thing all over again. That's a good analogy because it's the exact same thing all over again. different variants that's coming in, or you know, they're they're able to incite a certain level of fear into people to bring up awareness, or to look at you know your neighbor, or fellow citizen with a different eye.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I say, you can't keep us on this super high fear level, and I know they know this. So I guess they just getting as much stuff done because that's what happened after 9/11. They passed all these like Patriot Act and all this other stuff, and they've been using that shit ever since.
Oh yeah, and they're not gonna change any of that. That's just like stuff that's in law now from here on out.
So I guess that's what they're doing now because, like I said, they're not gonna be able to keep us on threat level red for much longer, bro. They've been having us in this liminoid state for like what is how long has it been? It's been like 2 years now, huh?
Oh,
Since
yeah,
COVID.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the first
It's about
sign
to
of
be.
it,
It was like November,
the first
December.
sign of it, yeah, when they said it came out of Wuhan, whatever it was, like November, October, November. Yeah, I think it was like November of 2019. So, but for when we actually was finding out about it was still probably January, February
Yeah,
of 2020.
yeah. So that does that make
It's
it? That makes it
it's
2 years,
it's two
right?
years. Yeah, it's 2 years of the actual existence, and but as far as acknowledging it, um, we still have about two
A few
months.
months to go. Fucking that shit crazy, man. Like I say, threat level red. This says the country that is more terrified of children's reading Toni Morrison books than repeated gun massacres at schools is morally broken and doesn't care at all about protecting its children. And you heard about the mom and dad getting charged with uh,
Negligence,
no, they got charged with uh,
murder,
yeah, not murder. It's involuntary
manslaughter.
manslaughter. Yeah. They charged them with involuntary 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, like each parent. And that's what I was saying in the other video that then this is the first time they've done this. And that's what I was saying in the other video that they need to do because it's a good deterrent because the kid that the gun wasn't secure and the parents the main thing is the gun wasn't secure and the parents wasn't monitoring their child. You know what I'm saying? I think that they said this case was so egregious. That's the reason why they want to charge the parents. So, but they make an example out of them. But I think it needs to be done. So, to send a message to the rest of the parents, keep your damn gun secure and keep an eye on your damn kids. Or we're gonna charge your ass with these damn deaths that happens as a result of you not doing that.
That's one way to do it. I mean, that's scary as hell. But at the same time, you are supposed to be responsible for your kid you know, and their actions. I mean, is anything gonna happen to the kid?
Yeah, he's charged as an adult for murder.
Okay,
I think 4 counts of murder.
so the whole family's going to jail now.
I don't know if that's justice. I can't call that justice.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's a tough one to really kind of swallow because I mean, I don't think that, I mean, I think that maybe that would push parents to be more, you know, uh, thoughtful of what they're doing with guns in the home, or because I mean, shit, you got to think. I mean, let's just say like in Chicago, those kids like it's word that they're actually dropping guns off where it's easy for them to get a hold, teenagers are able to get a hold to guns. Young people are able to get a hold to guns to where, you know, it never started in the household. It's not like a gun that they took from dad or from mom. It was, they found them in the street. So I mean, that could get very tricky in different cases where it wasn't something that it was obtained by the parents. You know, but
Well, if you need to keep your damn guns fucking secure at the very damn least, I know that it's hard to keep track of your kids, but you need to keep track of your damn guns. Like there
yeah,
ain't no
no,
fucking excuse.
yeah, no, that's a definite. I mean, I don't, regardless, that's something that needs to happen, you know, through any weather. But it's just the fact that, like I said, that could really get tricky. That, a kid that, especially let's say in the hood or whatever, where these guns become so available, they might have got it from a friend, or, you know, because of how unsafe it is for them, they felt
But
that
if they got it,
they buy
if
one off the street, or
but most of the shootings are them getting their guns from their parents. Like that's the statistics. So
what
it would
usually
not,
for a school shooting, yeah, usually for
yeah,
a school
for
shooting,
the school
but
shootings.
that
That's what I'm
but
talking about. Yeah.
that's a certain demographic for the most part as well.
Yeah. So, but still, that's gonna cut down on 80% of it if the damn parents had their damn guns fucking secured. That's
Oh yeah,
period.
yeah.
And how the hell are you leaving your guns laying around with bullets in them and shit? Like this is so dangerous. Or maybe the bullets are close to the gun. We don't know that. But either way, we know the kid could have grabbed it. So then that means that anybody that came in your house could have grabbed it. Like somebody could have broke into your home and robbed you
Well,
with your own damn gun or something. Like, come
well,
on, man.
too.
That's
Well, I mean, I think there's things that needs to happen before it even gets to where your kid wants to grab a gun and thinking that that's a solution. Making
that's
sure
a
that they
part of
have
it.
making sure that they have good mental health and
Yes.
emotional.
And that's the part that we really should focus on, I think, because that's the problem that we have in America, mental health. So that should be really the focus. But that's why I say you need to charge the parents still, that's the double whammy, because the not having the gun secure and not, because if you check the story out, I'm not gonna play the video again because I played it earlier in the video, but they said that there was a lot of evidence and shit. Like he got in trouble at school for writing some shit about shooting the people and shit and blood and some shit he drew on the paper and shit. So like what I'm saying is when you look at all the details, you'll see the parents could have intervened, could have and should have intervened.
Well, yeah, and because can we say that our society and the way that they, you know, make things available on regular TV, what I'm saying? Like there's certain things that when we were growing up that they would never just put on public view television, and a lot of these things are readily available, but they're promoting these things in kids heads. Parents don't really know what is triggering their child. So does
We still stuck in our damn phones too, just like the kids are. So like we complain about the kids being on TikTok, but we on Facebook or whatever the fuck we on our damn phone. So like what I'm trying to say is that as a society we deem what's acceptable. You know what I'm saying? Because if as a group we are all saying hell fucking no, we don't want our kids to see this shit. But like I say again, we so distracted ourselves, and then we don't come together as a community to fight against stuff that we really don't want to be, you know what I mean? Like so much violence and death and all of this shit, you know what I mean? Whatever, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is like we was just talking about that kind of in the other video with the child beauty pageants You know what I'm saying? That we have here in America that would be appalling to people in other countries. You know what I mean? Um, Related to the child sex trafficking and the entertainment industry, you know, and the porn industry. So it's kind of like what I'm saying is, as a community, we have deemed this stuff acceptable. You know what I mean? And that's the reason why it's readily available for our kids.
Yeah, because I mean it does. I think it does. Like for what's the word for it? You know, for undeveloped minds, whether it's childs or children, or adults who or have immature minds. The influence can pervert a lot of different things, and that whether it's from sexual perversions, or even when it comes to violent perversions. Because I mean, I look at that as kind of still like the same, because whether it's from all different types of media, whether it's TV, movies, video games, what have you, that is influencing immature minds to do things that you know in real life that you know has not, I guess, been deciphered, for them to be able to look at it. Okay, this is fake, this is not real, and it's crazy for me to think that I should do this in the real world. There's a lot of unstable, you know unhealthy minds.
Speaking of unstable, unhealthy minds, let's read some of the comments. This is underneath the video. This video I played earlier is parents of suspected Oxford high school shooter returning to face arraignment, lawyer says. So like apparently they wasn't on the run. They was just getting out of the city for their own safety, basically. That's what they said. That's what they
Okay,
said in the video.
that's
So,
creative. That's creative.
and to this point, at the point of that video, they still hadn't turned themselves in either. So, but the lawyer said they're on their way to turn themselves in or something. But it's weird because in the video they had what looked like mugshots. So I don't know. Anyways, these are the comments. This is the problem with the world. When parents can't be good role models for their own children, this is truly unforgivable. Another comment. These parents are so screwed. They're going to blame them for the kid getting the gun because they didn't store it in a strong box. And here goes the three of them. Nice work, mom and dad, for not teaching coping skills and not locking up your brand new firearm.
Well,
Police department have a free gun lock if you'll just go up to the door and ask. Everyone lives guns love practicing safety. Oxford schools should be held responsible too. They had drawings and evidence the student's state of mind was not in the right place. Aren't there rules and regulations if other students could be in danger? He should have been sent home, not a debate about it. Michigan schools keep getting worse. People like that be avoiding the every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child. Oh my God, that punched me in the chest. I be thinking about that shit all the time. It's about more than not having it properly stored. There were such irresponsible parents that they treated guns like toys. Irresponsible gun owners don't do that. Responsible parents don't do that. They repeatedly and recklessly disregarded the warning signs of their child had red flag issues and gave him his own gun, not just access to theirs. They refused to take him home from school or even to inform the school he was in possible possession of a firearm. They didn't think of it because they are negligent. They didn't take anything seriously because guns are toys. And that's why I say they should go to jail. And it's sad, but
yeah, I at least maybe set a few examples, because
that's what I'm saying.
I don't look. I'm gonna tell you, I don't unload my gun. Now I may put it up high or out of reach or something like that. But I also have a conversation with my son for him to to know, like, shoot, you can see from like he can see from different video games what those guns do. You shoot somebody, they fall. They die, they gone. So you gotta not only you gotta be smart about where you're putting these guns, and also you gotta have the conversations, because I think the biggest thing is you being so caught up in your own life that you're not paying enough attention to your kid and having conversations with them that maybe they can express, because you're their first psychologist. If there's issues going on, you need to make it comfortable for them to be able to talk about those things so they can get it out without harboring and expressing it in the wrong way.
Yeah. Yep. Let's read a little bit more comments. He said, this should definitely open up a different door for people letting their kids just do what the hell they want. Accountability, yep. After hearing the whole story, I agree they could have stopped this horrific disaster. LOL, I'm not mad at you. Jennifer Crumbley texted her son, you have to learn not to get caught. What a good mommy, says no one. People be saying random, like, they don't realize they don't make sense. To anyone saying the parents shouldn't be charged for this, yes, they absolutely should be. They knew what was going to happen and didn't want to prevent it, did nothing to prevent it. In fact, they actively encouraged it. They are 100% responsible, and now thanks to them, 4 people are dead and 7 are injured.
Yeah. Well, and everybody has intuition, but everybody don't know how to tap into it, because I mean there's just certain things, like there's certain vibes I get with Lil Pat that okay, he, like, there's times when because we talk every day, and that's just based on his tone, his delivery, his excitement, non-excitement will let me know there's an issue there or not. And if you're not paying attention to those things, pulling it out and actually not like just go on and have the discussion. Okay, tell me what happened. No, I don't want to hear it. I know there's something wrong. Look, let's just talk about it. And he'll open up and he'll just start saying whatever the issue is. So you
And
really do
the communication is key. That's it.
Yeah.
Just talking to your kids on a regular basis. And I think a lot of people don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, they're busy, of course, but you have to find time to talk to the kid,
Yeah, you're
have some
responsible for
conversations.
yeah, you're responsible for them and all the things that they learn, understand, and know, overstand. So I mean,
And as far as the
it
guns, my dad was in the military. There was guns around, and I used to shoot, on special occasions and whatnot as a kid. But I never had access to no gun. I never knew where the hell they was at or whatever. Like, my dad would pull them out and clean guns and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Or like I say, if they would got 4th of July or something, and they, you know what I mean? Or, we're in the country and we're just like shooting something, stuff or whatever, but that was the only times, like, and I didn't know where the guns was stored or nothing, like, I didn't have access to them. So that's what I'm saying. Guns, they need to be secure at all times. Everybody who's, I mean, there's a
you
million
gotta be
reasons why.
responsible.
It's a million reasons why you don't want your gun to not be secure. Your wife, your cousin, your uncle, your husband, you know what I mean? Your sister, your brother. It could be your child. They mad at
Yeah.
you about something in the moment. You know what I mean? Let me just go on and take care of this right now. They might feel bad about it after the moment is over, but it's too late now. What's done is done.
True that.
Yeah. I'm not gonna stay on much longer. I wanted to read. The comments on something, but I don't remember what it was. John Stewart exposed CEO. People willingly give up their freedoms. Are there comments on this? Let me see. Because I couldn't really understand him. His accent was thick. Okay, so the title of this is Why People Willingly Give Up Their Freedoms. It says with Professor Matthias Desmet. And then it says Aubrey Marcus Podcast. Okay, so his caption is, what are the conditions in any society that will cause a people to willingly sacrifice their freedoms? Matthias Desmet has studied and lectured extensively on the phenomenon. He is a professor of clinical psychology at Ghent University and holds a master's degree in statistics. I've noticed some anomalies in the statistical analysis conducting around the pandemic. He became concerned by the consensus narrative. He joined me today. Phenomenon called mass formation, a type of collective hypnosis essential for the rise of totalitarian regimes. See, that's interesting. He provides the step-by-step formula for the collective psychosis to take hold and how this relates to our current situation. He cautions against the dangers of our current societal landscape and offers both solutions, both individually and collectively, to prevent the willing sacrifice of our freedoms. So the willing sacrifice of our freedom. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, that's we're somewhat seeing a lot of that, because I mean, I think a lot of what, when you see that, it's based on the propaganda that's being fed by the media that feeds these fear tactics into the average mind person. And that when the government wants to act on something like that, where people they think they're doing it for the safety of themselves, their families, friends, and the country, but at the same time, and you're supposed to be self-governing. I think that a lot of people who a lot I don't know if they even see it, but it's because of laziness and wanting to being able to just depend on somebody else to make decisions for you, which I think is like ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you know for myself, and from and this is my point of view, this is my opinion, but I'm a self-governing person. I've always been. I've set rules for myself that keeps me from you know crossing the line, or certain borders where I don't need the government to set laws for me to you know do the right thing, or not to do you know horrible, terrible, or I mean, and then like simple bullshit, like, I mean, a mask mandate, or somebody, like the things that we have going on right now. It's like, this is kind of ridiculous. Like, if I want to.
The main part of that I really was trying to focus on early on was that, like, even with the science and masks and all of that, let's just put all that to the side and just think
Okay.
about how, like, it's it's about your mortality, right? It's about you could die, right? So, and that's what they're using to scare people. And what I'm saying is that, in none of our religions does it tell us to be afraid of death. Like, we're not supposed to fear death. If we live our life in fear like that, then we're not really truly alive. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So that shows how far off balance we are as a community for them to come through and scare us with our mortality like that and allow us and then as a result we just give away our damn rights and freedoms and shit like willingly.
Yeah. And 'cause I mean, the bigger thing that I think for me is that you know the law might be set up from one instance, but then down the road they can use it in other situations that may not be as crucial as.
Exactly. That's the point. Just like
Yeah.
I said 9/11 with the Patriot Act and all the shit that's the reason why they can drone strike people and do all that shit that they do now. Like also how they can basically go to war without Congress and all that shit was established back then and they've been doing that shit ever since. So that's how it works. That's how it works. Every time. They did the same thing in World War II. So, I mean, each time you look at history, you can see them, do that. And they
And then
never, what it says,
they
power never concedes power. So once they gain more power, they're going to keep that shit. They're going to be like,
yeah.
okay, yeah, the 9/11 was maybe it was a bit overreacted on that. So maybe all the laws and stuff that we passed while we was kind of freaking out, maybe we should retract them hoes, you know, maybe we gave too much presidential power or whatever. Like, let's walk some of that back. No. The next administration that comes in is like, how can we use that stuff? You know what I'm saying? That they how can we use what they opened up last time? This can of worms. How can we use this can of worms?
Yeah. But I don't know. Well, I might be a little bit older than you, but I know at one point they had civics classes that taught people about the Constitution, what is there for, you know, what a republic is, because I mean all this whole having the democratic form of government intertwined with a republic is you know I don't fully get it, because I mean if we the people are the true, you know like if comes down to what we say we want for our country, then okay, maybe there should be more voting for the people to decide, but I don't know. It's the a republic is built for the people. Democracy is more so where you are giving more people the opportunity to make laws or act for you. So I mean, I don't know. I still, every time I think about it, it just kind of throws me for a loop, because I mean they're conflicting. Our one government with two different styles really makes it weird for me. I don't know. It's just.
And kind of on another subject, but I think a lot of data is going to come out of this, and they're probably sitting on it. And I probably would like to see a study on how the negative impacts of COVID on people's overall health, being the stress of it, and also being the barriers to going to the doctor, getting regular checkups in healthcare, like a lot of disruption to get into their pharmaceuticals even that they need as a result of all these COVID mandates and procedures and so forth and so on. I'm willing to bet that a lot of people. I'm willing to bet that overall we're sicker as a community because our access to healthcare has been filtered, if you will, through COVID.
Well, you do know that, like, a lot of diseases develop through your mind, right? The way you think, because those stress hormones, those anger hormones, those like emotional imbalances can lock different things into your body that creates disease. And that's one of those things that, because of all of the stuff that the, media projects to us day to day, that probably makes us sicker, not just mentally, but physically, just because of the stress that it, I wish there was a actual study for that, how much, that's actually causing. What is that? There's a 72 page patent for COVID. Yeah, are you talking about the one that came from Microsoft, Elliot? But yeah, no, and that's another angle that no shit, I know. Yeah. Um, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the background that most people are not even realizing because they have so much trust in the government. I mean, if you think about like how much corporations determine what's what laws need to be in place in order for them to do what they're trying to do, or the setup for what they're trying to do, is like, I mean, because there's a there's a reason why they're so pushed, because I think that the technology that's coming, a lot of the crypto stuff, the blockchain, the data capturing, and all this, that, and the other, is some of the the biggest reason why they're so hell bent on everybody getting the shot. You know, maybe I think there is some other
Kind of
elements.
connection. It's the global. I know the connection that I clearly can see with this is the neoliberalism or whatever, the globalism, like, you know what I mean, New World Order type shit. As far as like getting the whole world on some of the same shit, if you will.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's
organized in a way.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's what their agenda is. Like there's probably there's multiple agendas within the same strike, but you're they're using certain things to be able to use against us in the future that we hadn't
Yeah.
even realized just
They're
yet.
building the infrastructure for globalism,
Yeah.
if you will.
That's a I think you expressed that perfectly.
I want to read a couple of comments from that same video that I was talking about. He said, this is the first comment under there. It says, for the past 2 years, I've been saying that it seems like the people around me are being hypnotized. What I've been seeing with my family members and some friends is that it takes no more than 2 weeks for the media to flip their point of view. And I'm furious about what the so-called authorities and media are doing to the people I love. This is pure evil. The world is run by a very small number of sociopaths, and it's time we wake up and realize there are far more of us than there are of them.
The program is so much easier to run on the masses, and it's so true. I mean, look, man, that propaganda thing is so real. They have it down to a science where,
That's why
like,
I avoid ads, because people say they can resist it. You cannot resist this stuff, bro. They got it down down to a science. They're literally finna stick their little tentacles right into your damn brain and massage the little pee-pee part. You know what I'm saying? They coming for you, man.
all the way down to your wee wee, huh? Man, but no, it's bro, it's real. It's so real, and I feel her. Like and it's scary. It's because I mean, regardless, because it's so easy for them. Like they program them like it's like a computer program to where the news runs, and it's almost like you just put a disk into a computer, and now the computer is just doing exactly what you know they're asking or wanting or suggesting, because it's not telling them to do anything. It's a lot of suggestions that they're presenting to the mind, making them feel like, okay, they're making these thoughts on their own, but they've actually been programmed to see that way based on the way it's delivered. And it's like I said, I mean, for me, it's somewhat sickening, because some people really go way too far with it, and others are just so complying to every little thing. Like, you know, there's got to be some due diligence that happens. It needs to be that. What is Elliot saying?
Why is modern warfare domestically on American people?
It's on the world, bro. It's not just American people, man. Like this is something that they're trying to push on the entire world. And of course, we see it, we individualize it to America, but this is something that's actually worldwide, man. They're preparing for something. There's the 2030 agenda. Like they're trying to get certain things done, by that time period, because that's what, based on their plans and, all the things that they are hoping to, how they, to make things easier for themselves, and, they don't have to, trick you so much. Like they can get this technology within your body where, they can detect you, or even possibly even trigger certain things to make you act in a way that they want you to. So I mean, it's we're the highest form of technology, and for them to interface with it, they have to do other things, constructive things that will, you know, for their control. You know what I'm saying? There's a 1% against the 99%. And they want to be able to keep some control. And if we comply, they're going to continue to win. Like this is a time in life where, you know, there should be going into a different rule, a different mindset that's coming into the planet. But if everybody somewhat complies, and you become so, you know, what's the word? How can you take over? Like, let's just say, you know, the 400 years are over, and it's time for the black people to actually have a higher stake in our world, and to bring peace, and to, equalize the playing field. But you're running, continually chasing the same things that's hindered you for centuries, but it's just on a higher form. Like if that's continuing to happen, what happens to the planet? I mean, we're expected as human beings to be a man, to be, to be men, women, thinkers that's gonna help mankind, human life, but we're still running behind the bus. I don't know, man. It's humanity is gonna devolve even more, that if we're not.
But that's what I be thinking too, and it's such a sad thought.
When
Let's
government fears the people, there's liberty. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny.
Yeah.
You that and man, for something to have happened so many, hundreds of years. Well, those was what, 1800s. Yeah, I mean, that's so true. What's the next one?
Couple more comments. It says, I'm a 72 years old retired registered nurse, and I'm totally amazed at the sheeple these days, and that includes many in the medical community. So many have lost their ability to critically think and or choose to remain willfully ignorant. And I'd be amazed too in academics when I be at the school and I'd be talking to somebody who has a PhD, and I'm like, you can't see this shit?
I'm actually proud of one of the doctors that I actually know him personally. He's a family friend, and he's like he's like you know amazed, just like the comment she just made. Like totally amazed that these are brilliant people that has the ability to be life changers, world changers, but they keep like they're just going into the same tunnel, like like just pretty much doing what master say instead of doing the right thing for humanity, because there's so many other solutions to fixing problems to where they're just like it's the money. A lot of times I think it's just the money, like they're afraid to lose you know, whatever funding they may get through the government or these these. Are you saying something? You're muted or something.
Wait, could you hear me? It said my mic was out.
Yeah, that's what I was just asking. You're in
Wait,
now.
you couldn't hear me
I
just a
can
minute
hear.
ago?
Yeah, the last 20, 15, 20 seconds or so, I just saw, I looked down and I saw your
Damn,
face, your mouth moving. So,
damn. Anyways, I was reading Hell Girl's comment. I'm gonna read it again. Damn, I wasted like 20 seconds. I didn't know. All right.
maybe
This
10, maybe 10. I don't know.
This is a comment under the thing. The lady says, this interview was the eureka moment for me, explaining all that had puzzled me through the pandemic. As a survivor of domestic violence, I recognize the gaslighting, lying, hypocrisy, and projection as tactics of an abusive government, similar to what narcissists, sociopaths inflict on their victims. I also have a degree in biology from the same school Fauci attended, and worked for 20 years in biotechnology, analyzing phase 2 and phase 3 clinical trials. So I dove into the science and found it wanting. Matthias has provided some of the most valuable information I have seen to date since this entire global drama commenced. Really mind-blowing, but one can see how totalitarian societies form with a willing populace that completely disregards critical thinking, empathy, and even their own personal welfare.
Exactly. Like, I mean, man, that's a mouthful. That's a mouthful because I mean, that's exactly what we're seeing. And for some of us, like because of certain things that may have happened within our lives, where we can override the program. Like we have that the antivirus protection on our system to where we detect it, we see it, but block. We're able to block it. Where others is just like it doesn't matter. Yeah, feed me more trash. Feed me more trash. Yeah, I can take it. I got more space for it. Just feed me as much trash as you can feed me, because it doesn't matter. I don't care about you know, my hardware failing or anything else. Like is
Feed me, Eeyore. What? Wait, hold on. What was it? Remember the Little Shop of Horrors? Feed
yeah.
me.
Feed me, Seymour.
Seymour, that's what it was. Seymour. Feed me. Yeah, man. And that's the whole thing, because the consumption, right? capitalism, and it relies on overconsumption. And that's the big mouth that never gets satisfied. It's the what is it? The hungry ghosts that never gets, they never get full. Like the big mouth that was at the fucking Travis Scott concert. That's what it
But
all
what
represents.
but what tactic have they not used? I mean, dude, like they've used like the biggest one is the fear of loss, like the fear of losing your job, of you losing any kind of funding, or even just like, well, because of this, we're gonna give you this money. Like I mean, it's like even down to offering you fucking weed pot at the fucking places for you to go get the jab. And like I mean, they've used all these different tactics, bro. And like to me, those were warning signals. For others, it's just like, oh man, they're gonna do this. But I mean, they're looking out for like for whatever reason, they're not able to see.
I don't know how you can't see it, but I guess, because they're not paying attention, it's just the one part. They're like, oh, well, if it's going to benefit me or something, or what they said they're going to pay my rent, or I'm going to get to not pay rent for a couple months or something like that. I don't know. I really don't get how their mind works at all.
Yeah, well, and I mean, because they use the fear in different ways. Because even like with that moratorium thing, because they are, the first few months or whatever, like they, you know, made it where they didn't have to, you know, pay rent and stuff because everybody was out of work and blah 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 blah. But it's just like for whatever reason, people on government assistance, like that's an easy win for a bunch of them because some of them just can't work, some of them just don't want to work, and it's like, well, shit, I ain't messing up my money. Shoot, I'm gonna just do what boss say.
So sad. But I think what you said earlier was important. The fear, right? Like they use all the different ways, right? And so like your job, like right, possibly being homeless, but also like respect in the community too, because a lot of times like your job has to do with that or how much money you're making. You know what I mean? Has to do with like how much the community respects you. Also, it gives like money gives you freedom, right? Or the appearance of freedom, like they say, freedom ain't free. So, but you can move
Gives
around
you
more when you do.
privileges.
It gives you
It gives you
privileges, so you can move.
privileges.
You could definitely move around more when you have more money. So when you that's another way that they constrict you again, and the fear of being broke and not being able to move around and do things like, and layer upon layer. So like I say, 9/11 threat level red, and now we got the pandemics because it's not going to end.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of and a lot of people were sold on the thing of like making them feel like this is the right thing to do, as if this is like almost like it's a cure. You know what I'm saying? Like this will fix everything if you do this, but then it's only caused more problems. I mean, the, I mean, all the doctors are
Look,
saying that.
and look how much this compares to Afghanistan. Because I keep talking about 9/11. We ended up in Afghanistan, and we just now got out of Afghanistan, and now it's like we're switching over to this war on COVID. You know what I
A
mean?
virus, yeah, a virus.
It's kind of like the other one was the war on terror, like a war
Well,
you can't possibly win, like an enemy that doesn't even really exist, like a ghost, like
and,
fighting against a ghost.
but that's the exact thing. Like that's what makes it even for them a bigger win is because it's an invisible it's a boogeyman.
Yeah.
It's something that you'll never be able to see, and you just for whatever as long, and then like unless you're truly affected by it, like you don't really, there's no way to really prove that it exists, because I mean,
And just like you said just a minute ago about how making it worse, that's another comparison. I'm sitting here thinking about it to Afghanistan because they kept making the situation worse there. It's just like that, you know what I mean? And that's why I think that it's like that was the previous 20 years or whatever. And this is all orchestrated. The withdrawal from Afghanistan, they got a new boogeyman. You know what I'm saying? A new way to generate income. It's crazy how much money these pharmaceutical companies are making. These niggas was already set up to make a fucking killing. That shit is so crazy.
Dude, I mean, especially like, I mean, a lot of people who knew that this was coming, like they just shifted their money to the stocks that was about to get ready to pay off. I mean, this
The
is
co-
corporation. These
the
are
Congress
corporations.
people on paper doing that. It's a few of them that got caught doing that.
Exactly.
Because it's illegal to do that when you're like a
But
Congress person and you
but
have
but, but look,
privileged information and shit.
but look, and also
They do it all the time. That's what they took Martha
hiding
Stewart to jail
information.
for. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is like hiding certain information. Like there's senators that has to go to Europe and other different countries to be able to get analytics on, the pros and the cons on the virus, or even the you know what's happening with the jab. And I mean, shoot, I mean, the a lot of the world already knows that the variants come from people who's got the shot.
So, and that's why the stock market ain't fair. And like, remember how like this Omicron, I talked about that a bit in the other video. The Omicron variant in South America, South Africa, and like the travel bans, and then they talk about how that stuff was how it affected the economies of those nations. It still is. And other nations. And so that's what I'm saying. That's what they're doing now. Like they have the ability to just constrict somebody's economy, constrict their flow of income, like punish you. Because it was like because that's what South Africa is saying. Those other nations around them are saying, like, we're getting punished for this. What the hell?
Where they're ready. I mean, honestly, what would be probably even more beneficial for these other countries is, for them to shut off these other, like all the countries that's doing, the shots, or what, having, putting in certain men, like they need to pretty much just shut them off from like
Their own
everything, really.
economies. But still, that hurts because that's what the thing is. This whole thing is about the global economy. You know what I mean? So whatever country that is in Africa probably has some deals with the UK or whoever the hell, where they move their products and services, and that's how they make a huge chunk of their money.
Yeah, but to me, I think that that's still like because I mean, you're still trying to fit into, when I see it like that, because I mean, the main thing is like us being able to survive. I mean, a lot of it is us trying to keep up with the Joneses, where you want the products that you're getting from these other countries, the whatever, but when it comes down to just saving your life, all those other things shouldn't matter. So, if you're able to have trade within your own country with others, or even nearby countries, to where you guys can barter and trade, like you don't really have to fit into everybody else's society.
and
It's
and
like a
that's the future, because that's what I be saying. Everything gonna have to be local. This global thing doesn't work, and it's destroying the environment, and it's turning everybody into slaves, because that's how they're able to do what they do. Pay these people trash wages over here in this country to feed to make trash ass products to sell to people over here. It's so crazy.
Well,
So,
look, but look,
the
I mean,
local shit will work.
look, we get away from the medical stuff. If we look at like what they call in global warming, like it's been proven, like it's certain signs that they've been ignoring, and like our, like this is over time, like the way that the earth spins within our solar system, certain parts of the earth is going to be warmer, other parts are going to be cooler, and this is a part of natural design. Like it is this thousands of years ago, this exact same thing was happening here where we live, or in different parts of the country. And this global warming thing is a psyop as well, because this is the way nature works. Like Antarctica defrosting is a part of nature. It's not because of the chemical plants and this, that, and the other. Not saying that that's like it's improving our situation, but it's not destroying our situation either. The earth does things to protect itself. You know what I'm saying?
And it's gonna get rid of our ass if it need to. So that's the argument, though. There is, I can't argue with what you're saying, other than saying that, what we should focus on is what impact that we are having on the earth. You know what I mean? Clearly, with the plastics, oil spills, um, you know, cutting down the rainforest, all of that shit.
Yeah. Well, that's human ignorance. A lot of it is human ignorance, because I mean, yeah, cutting down a lot of these trees is fucking ridiculous. So I mean, there are things that we have to do as humans to preserve, but at the same time, where there's even like data that says that the green energy thing is even worse for
I saw a
our.
video. I saw a video about that because it was talking about how the damn we still gonna need the damn stuff,
in
pulling
order
stuff out of the earth. It's still gonna be basically the same shit.
you still in order to create the products for green energy, you got to use fossil fuels. So
It really
what
opened
you
my eye. It was a whole. There's a video on YouTube that
yeah,
breaks it down really good.
so why are we going through this extra process, creating, you know like digging deeper in the pockets to create something where we can just use
and
that
and,
one
and the same thing
resource?
with the electric cars, because the charging stations and so forth and so on, and the way the
All of it.
power, yeah,
It it
it's
it
the
it
batteries got
doesn't.
to be charged with and plugged into the grid and shit. So yeah, when you look at it, you start realizing it really kind of makes you sad, because it really made me sad once I realized how
It's
much
a waste.
bullshit there.
It's another way to waste. It's just another way for us to waste. And it's cool. Like, people want electric cars. Yeah, all right, that's fine. You can have electric cars, but don't make it be where you're gonna force the world to move everything to this one thing, where you're still like it's actually more consumption than what we're already using.
And then it's all about these major conglomerates, because if you do that with the electric, then how big would Tesla be if and it's like, that's what I mean, our society keeps creating these major conglomerates, that have monopolies on whatever industry that they're in. And they're all do that, and it's so crazy. Like each one of them, once you start naming names like Nestle, or I don't know, Dow, or
Craft.
yeah, they all dominate their industry. Exxon, they all dominate their industry, and that's what it is. And then we got newer ones, the tech ones, Facebook, Google.
But look, the mind fucking all of this is that, like, they've been gradually doing this to where, you know, at one point, a man, a woman, whoever has a vehicle, they could go in, open their hood, and fix their own shit
Yeah.
to where they created it where you can't, you know, you have to go back to them. Like it's just creating more and more
If
waste
people knew more and more
for.
about this stuff, they would be angry. Because, like, I'm gonna give you an example of what you're talking about. Because on the newer cars, like the Toyotas, they changed the bolts so that you have to use a special tool to and I think this is for the oil, to change the oil. And so you have to use this special tool to do the bolts. That nobody has this tool really, and so that's why you have to go to the dealership for them to do it. You know, because otherwise they're liable to strip it, fuck your shit up. You don't, that because anybody knows about that stuff, they know how easy those particular screws strip. And if you strip them, that fucks up, that's a major fuck up right there. A big
Yeah.
problem. So that's why they do it like that, because if you try to use another tool, you're gonna strip it and fuck it up.
And I mean, I mean, even before doing that, because I'm sure that's happening, you know, with probably more than Toyota, but like even with the way they've been torquing a lot of these bolts, you know, it's hard for you to do on your own anyway. Like you got to go through all kind of shit just to be able to, you know, like you almost need those kind of
The
air
air
guns and
tool,
this and
yeah.
yeah, in order to be able to do that.
Because even your regular drill might not have enough power to do it. You literally need an air tool. That's the fucked up shit they be doing, man.
So,
That's
but
fucked
that's what,
up.
but see, that's a part of what people are missing. It's just like, okay, well, yeah, you know, I love technology just as much as the next man, but at the same time, you know, to what extent do we do this to where it's hurting ourselves? Like everything just gets more and more expensive. I mean, a car in the 70s might have been, you know, a nice car might have been $5,000 or $7,000 at the top, to where now we're looking at
And
a
and
basic
then
car.
it keeps making money. The inflation, that's the worst part of the inflation, because it makes the money more and more worthless.
Yeah.
And it's all about greed. That's what I was talking about in the other video, because you were saying inflation not real. I'm not saying it's not real that we going and paying this damn more money. I'm saying it's not real in that fact that they manipulating this shit behind closed doors. It's straight ass fuckery.
Well, yeah. I mean, because I mean, you know, with an executive order, a lot of these things can change and go right back to where. Because I mean, all prices. I mean, you know, gas was. You know, I'm gonna say fair because it wasn't as crazy as it's gotten. Now I'm starting to see some of the prices go down a little bit. You know, maybe it's because of the holidays and they're inspiring people to, do some stuff. But at the same time, uh, you know, just this year, like let's just say week to week, I went from spending like in my diesel like 350 every other day. So let's just say that's maybe 50, let's say 17, $1,800 uh a week in fuel for my truck, to paying like 2,500, I'm close to $3,000 a week. So I'm damn near double of what I was paying from last year to this year. So it's like with the stroke of an executive order, that shit went from that to this. So they can do the same thing with our
Without a doubt.
you know, with, you know, because I mean a lot of it is just the way that they're changing the pricing, you know, because if they, you know, yeah, they put a bunch of dollars, new dollars into rotation, but along with those new dollars, in order for it to still equal up for the corporations. They raise prices because, you know, if we just say that this country's GDP, or you know, the value of everything is a certain dollar amount, in order for them to everything to still equal out for them and profits, they gotta raise prices, and that's what they've been continuing to do.
And
And with that,
think about this. It's another form of dehumanization, because I saw there was an old TV show in the 90s. It was like Aliens, and it was a comedy. I can't think of the name of it. But
Jetsons.
No, it wasn't Jetsons. Not that far back. It was the 90s. Anyways, the guy said something in the video. He was like, because he was an alien, he was looking at the thing in a different way. Like he said, the way people work for 20 years and then retire, or, I mean 30, 40, however long, and then retire. It's like, he said, it's like you putting a lease on your life. He said that's weird. And so,
I mean,
like,
that's
think
exactly
about
what
it.
we do.
And then related to the inflation, so I was saying that the money keeps being less and less, more and more worthless. Then that's also your time, because you are putting your time, on your job, and you get paid an hourly or whatever it is per job or whatever. So either way, if you're getting paid salary, it doesn't matter. The amount of time you spent working for that, you know what I mean,
Well,
is worth
well,
less every
I
time they do this inflation.
yeah, and I think they have like perfectly designed it. Like you know, everything has been broken down into science for these politicians. Because if you think about, you're working now to be able to have a retirement where you can be able to live years after you stop working. You know, somewhat comfortably. But if you know, like you're making today's dollars to, you know, as some, you know, to live now and to be able to provide a life for you to live in the future. And with the inflation, you know, thrown in there, how is it even possible? Because I mean, like they keep stretching it out. Okay, 60 you can retire. Okay, 62 you should be able to retire. 63, 70, like you're getting up to where you gotta, you know, be into your 70s before you can truly retire nowadays.
Now they
Because
saying you're not even gonna have Social Security if you the Generation
well,
Z.
well, well, I mean, and but you know, Social Security is not really what, you know, retirement is supposed to be.
But that's the
You know,
basic. I was just throwing it in there.
well, you know, I get, for a lot of people that is a great part of their supplement for that, you know, their monthly income. But I mean, just based on the numbers for, okay, our inflation, you know, because all right, based on what I saw recently, like our dollar right now is worth about 15 cents per dollar. Like every dollar, 15 cents. From what, you know, because it said the last time that the dollar was worth a dollar was 1971. Like as far as the actual spending power, the buying power of the dollar. But here in 2021, we're at the point where the dollar is worth 15 cents. So what happens in 2030, 2045, or 2050? What was, you know, it's almost, you know, like if it wasn't for crypto, we wouldn't have you know, you know, a unit of currency that actually is growing. So like a lot, you know, they're purpose. I think, I mean, a lot of it, I think they're purposely moving the worth of these dollars so that they can justify moving into that type of currency. Like I don't understand.
I think that it's really hard to control people. So, niggas will start using NFTs and just paying each other with happy faces or something.
Wow. No, that I mean, bro, regardless of how we look at it, energy is what pays for everything. We have to give an effort to be able to get dollars, to get gold coins, silver coins, crypto, whatever. We have to, that money comes from some form of energy somewhere.
And that, but that energy is the agreement that it's worth something, or the agreement that it has value, or the agreement that the other
what
person is willing to accept that
what
as
after,
payment for
but
services or products.
well, I mean, after
So
after that agreement, yeah, I mean, like, where's this? Because I mean, at some point, right, a lot of people are still working for dollars, but for you know, the few jobs that will still be available, that's labor jobs, or where you get. I mean, even if it's somebody working at a desk. I mean, your time, use trading time for some form of value, that's not going to change. So, but they're taking a value out of one currency and putting it into another, because I mean, like right now, I mean, if you just do the math, you know it it makes more sense to get rid of your dollars as soon as possible and put it into something that's you know growing, because, like, let's just say you just take your dollars and put it into a bank account. The bank is gonna, to a traditional bank account, it's only gonna grow like at 0.04% a year, to where in crypto the average is 2 point something, you know, per year, or it's probably per month. You can see immediate growth by transferring it from dollars into crypto right away. That's not really any investment. I mean, it is an investment, but as far as like within the crypto world, that's not a true investment. That's just an exchange. That's a change. That's just like the same as you taking your dollars and turning it into euros, because it may be leveled off, or still maybe it does have some growth or whatever. But just with that exchange, you're putting yourself in a position of growth instead of pretty much stagnation.
yeah, I'm just saying that I think that cryptocurrency may or may not end up being it, but like what I'm saying is like the kids not gonna care. I think these kids are wily, and they like I say, they liable to come up with something like NFT happy faces and be like, fuck the government, and we're gonna pay each other with happy faces.
No, I
Because like
mean
I
that
say,
that
the currency is all about the agreement of the parties, deciding that
that
whatever
that's
has
happening
value.
right now. No, that's happening right now. I mean, if you want to look at, like, there's certain avatars, they're for sale, and they're gaining value too,
Emoji.
just because it's, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know about emojis, but there's you know actual avatars, and like that market is growing, where this one is not. Dollar the Fiat currency is not.
Some kind of electronic money probably is the future. I want to read a couple more comments from this, and then I'm probably gonna wrap it. I'm getting tired, and plus I really shouldn't have went this long, but this guy says, as a hypnotherapist now retired, they have been doing so for a long time, and the best thing for humanity is to turn off television programming.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I
to
say.
I mean, to a certain extent, because I mean, I mean, if we have enough people to do it, like that's where we fall into a variable that we we could fail ourselves by totally shutting off, because there's still so many people that's programmed to this following, like they're addicted to these people's words. I'm seeing it flash. Everything's good.
What, I'm flashing?
Well, the whole screen, I see it blinking from yours, mine, to the others, your others,
I don't know.
with the shared screen. But however, I mean, if there's not enough people that's gonna do that, we'll be putting ourselves in a position to lose. And that's where a lot of I think the the programming even works on those who see it and understand it.
This is a comment. It says, one cannot be hypnotized unless one is willing to be hypnotized. People can, however, be propagandized and brainwashed by endless lies. I don't think
That's
this
a
guy
hit. And
really
I
understands
don't
what he's
think
saying.
he doesn't understand the technical parts of it, because if you call trying to be informed, watching the news to be informed, and you end up getting uh hypnotized through whatever media, whether it's advertisements or the news, TV shows. I mean, you're that's a form of hypnosis, whether you realize it or not. It's a programming. It's controlling the way you see things without you realizing it. So I mean, by somebody turning their TV on and giving that effort to try to be informed and still being hypnotized, it's really
And the person always say, I can't be hypnotized, or I can't, like I say, the ads don't
they're
affect
deeper.
me.
They're
You
more
the main one.
hypnotized.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're more hypnotized than just the
you the
average
main
person.
one. Totally
Yeah,
lost.
they're
Here's
more
another
programmed than they know.
Here's another comment. My grandmother was a Nazi. I've been watching this country transform into the mindset of my grandmother pretty much for my entire 50 years. People slowly getting crazier about literally everything, to the point you can't have a discussion about anything other than absolutely trivial subjects without people falling apart. My grandmother never once spouted any Nazi ideology, but her thought process was completely whack, and she was an emotional roller coaster. Hold on, I think it's a little bit.
I
She was in. Hold
I
on, let
don't
me
know how
finish.
to do all that speaking in tongues, but girl, you talking.
Yeah, it's a little bit more. She was an emotional roller coaster about everything. Everything to her was a binary black and white issue to which she had the correct answer. Yeah, I think a lot of people. Let me read this one. Every time I consider complying because it would make my life easier, I just consider that in my country, the current vaccine mandate for all public places except for the workplace basically says that your vaccine is valid for 9 months. So even if I comply now, it will never be over. If I comply with injections 1, 2, and 3, I will have to comply with 4, 5, and 6 soon, and then 7, 8, and 9, and then I'll probably be dead.
So much truth. So much truth. She said it. I'm gonna let you go through your comments on. I mean, unless it's just really something crazy, I'm not gonna really say much, because I mean, really, she said it.
Yeah, that's how I've been feeling, and I think that if you look at history, you can see it. There's a whole bunch of parallels to present day America, and then Hitler was copying off of American anyways. That's what a lot of people don't understand.
Well, no, I think he got an idea. He got an
Yeah,
idea, but at the same time, his was expanded. They end up using his. Like, they brought a bunch of Nazis into America afterwards because they had perfected it even more so than uh, we had here in America. Like, just the idea of using media to try, like, that's where the whole thing began, is that us using the media to be able to advertised to it, like selling products and stuff. That's what they got from us. But then they got deep with it and took it to another level. I'm not gonna say perfected it, but they definitely had a bigger idea of used it much swifter than America, and America loved it so much, even though that they were supposed to be enemies, they still, that was something that they had in common. They had a
This person says, I'm shocked and puzzled at how many people have given over the authority of their own body and mind to the state.
Yep, you might as well just call them whores. I mean, to a certain extent, man.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. It says, while I love the idea of the mutual understanding, only one side in the issue is trying to force the other to vaccinate themselves, their employees, their children, etc., regardless what reason they present to abstain. And I think that's lost, and that's a good comment, because that part of it is lost. Like the other side is not trying to force other people to do anything.
I had a friend. This is probably just like it's the same friend that I'm usually referencing. I don't really say his name. I love him. That's my boy. We've been friends for a long time, but I think that maybe because he hadn't been calling me and arguing with me about the same stuff. Because I think to a certain extent, I mean, he's no dummy. Very smart dude, bro. But he was doing a lot of this stuff to what he felt was just the right thing to do. He was being a patriot, you know what I'm saying? In his mind. But at the same time, I feel I'm being a patriot too by standing up in a different way because I guess our angles are different. He thinks he's helping people by, not, he's thinking, he's helping by doing what he's doing, but I feel the same way for myself, and I never blamed anybody who did, you know, decide to go the other way, and that's what they felt was right for them. All right, cool. But at the same time, I think that I'm seeing a bigger picture because there are other
The pressure
solutions.
the
Yeah,
pressure is coming from their side.
yeah.
So I like this comment right here. It says, in their infinite wisdom, the government of the world have declared that all their citizens should keep themselves safe from the coronavirus, even if this makes them sick in all other ways.
Oh God. Huh. Hey, it's up to you to decide.
Being low on the social ladder teaches you everything you need to know about your master's intentions. Because they don't have any critical thinking, if they think a little, just a little harder, they wouldn't give up their freedom. It has to do with ignorance and laziness. A friend in a large Amish community was asked why they thought COVID-19 didn't have an impact in their community. The answer, oh, we don't have TV, so we didn't know about it.
What? What? Wow. That's some metaphysical shit. I mean, for something to manifest something in your life, you gotta think it.
And then they're stoking this fear, and everybody gets scared and stressed out and sick.
Bro.
Like
That's
it's like they just like that movie Inception. Like they just put the thought of getting sick in your mind
and you
with the
get sick.
TV, and then you take it in, and then it becomes true after the fact.
Some people get headaches after seeing Excedrin commercial. the screen is blinking and stuff again.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah,
wrap it soon. I got let me see. This one looks good. Fortunately, some are born with spiritual immune systems that sooner or later give rejection to the illusionary worldview grafted upon them from birth through social conditioning. They begin sensing what something is amiss and start looking for answers. Inner knowledge and anomalous outer experiences show them a side of reality others are oblivious to. And so begins the journey of awakening. Each step of the journey is made by following the heart instead of following the crowd and by choosing knowledge over the veils of ignorance.
bravo. That's some great and wise words.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm probably going to watch this video. It was hard for me to watch this, though, because this dude's accent is strong. And some accents really, like, make it hard for me to, like, I can understand what he's saying, but when I'm taking in information, it's like, I don't know, it's kind of annoying sometimes when if the accent is, and then it's only certain accents that do that, because certain thick accents I can deal with, but some of them I can't when it's academic stuff. But anyways, bruh, I need to try to get some rest.
I'm with you. Tomorrow,
Uh,
same bat channel, same bat time.
Yep. Try to think of something. Send me some videos or whatever. And try to think of what the hell the show's gonna be about. I'm trying to avoid from being a part of the news cycle, but I still want to cover current events and kind of have my own identity out here.
Well, you know what? I don't necessarily worry about stuff like that because I mean that's stuff that everybody's talking about, but I think the biggest value is giving good, righteous points of view.
And I like the reading the comments. I've been doing that more and more, but because I realize what I do with this channel is kind of what I do on my own, like alone. It's crazy. So I read a lot of YouTube video comments and I read a lot of like Instagram comments.
I missed the last 2 days of the whole that trial stuff that's going on. You heard anything new about that?
Ghislaine Maxwell. I haven't been paying attention the last 2 days either. The last time I remember, I think that chick had testified 2 times already. And they said something about a pilot. They got a pilot that was saying like Clinton. He named some names. The Prince Andrew was on the plane with Epstein, and he was the pilot.
What? Dun dun dun. Hey man, say bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I want this shit to. Oh my goodness, like I really want them. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's my favorite actors and rappers and this, that, and the other. Get these motherfuckers because these are the rich and powerful people that's able to make this shit shake and move, the way it does. And like our babies can be safe. You know what I'm saying? Safer.
I think they're gonna just scapegoat her and she gonna take one for the team because she gangster like that and she not gonna snitch. And they're gonna put a lid on this and we're gonna forget about it.
Well, this is just the beginning. This is just one case. There's another case that's brewing, and unless this airplane pilot, accidentally kills himself, then there's gonna be some stuff that's gonna come out.
Because it's not just him. This was a fucking nationwide, including the Virgin Islands, operation. So it was a whole bunch of moving parts and people involved. So I'm sure there's a lot of information out there that can be put together and really like, because you already was talking about the documentary they have, but like I say, I'm sure that there's a whole bunch of information, so a lot of people could get in trouble if they really wanted to pursue this, but I don't think that they really do. They much rather chase after black folks or Mexicans or something. Anyways, if you don't pop back on, peace and love, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. 3.5 hours. I really don't be wanting to make these go to no 4 hours. You there?
Hello? Yeah. Well, you do know that there's a lot of stuff that's been going on. You know, like when Trump was in office, there were some U.S. Marshals that, you know, they found some victims. They arrested different, like some, I don't know. I don't think he was a but like he was some kind of city official or some kind of government official that was caught during that, you know, that little spree that was going on, or the
Yeah, I think I heard something about that
so
a
I mean,
while ago.
there's stuff that's been going on in the background that, you know, there's some people that's gonna be trying to save their own ass and gonna say something.
I hope so. Like you said, man, I agree with you. I hope they get whoever, because you know that's what you need to do. You have to be a land of laws. You got to enforce them. You got to enforce those laws. You know, people got to be held accountable, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with our society is, or even the world in general, I guess, is personal accountability. We like to use religions, we like to use nationality, we like to use whatever race, ethnicity as an excuse for behaviors that we know that are not cool.
Yeah.
And we won't admit that we wrong about it. You know what I'm saying?
And if we don't step up for the right things, like we're gonna steadily be using ignorant shit like this to, you know, define ourselves or to separate ourselves or to, you know, try to be a part of different crews and clubs and all this other kind of bullshit where, you know, there's much bigger things to life than that. I mean, bro, it's
All right,
we're sick.
man.
We're sick
Yeah.
for keep playing into the same old shit over and over again.
That sounds like the title of the show. How to fix a sick society.
Let's do it.
That sounds like the title. I might change my mind, but that's
yeah, but nah, that's cool. We'll work around it.
All right, man. Peace and love. Thank you for your time.
Same here, man. Thanks for having this platform for us to have these discussions. You know what I'm saying?
And for all you guys out there, like, share, and subscribe. I think today's show was pretty good, man. I really like focusing on the data and the information and shit. Like, if I feel like I got a certain amount of information out, it's a bit satisfying because even if nobody watched the video, they can go back and watch it. The information is there. Yeah.
I'm with it. Yeah, I believe the same thing.
All right, man. Till tomorrow.
Get you some rest, bro.
All right, man. Peace and love.
Peace.